charge 15.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast with Roger and Friends. This is a Thursday morning, the 11th of June, and we say good morning. We got a skeleton staff this morning, and I'm not talking physically, but staff-wise. Dr. Gene Sidler, good morning, Gene.
I guess I'm the skeleton here.
Well, you're a lot thinner than I am. I'll verify that. And our good friend Mike Dentino, who normally joins us, is on the road with his lovely bride, headed out to, I think, the southeastern part of the country. I think he has a daughter. Did he not tell us that he's helping to move into a new location?
I don't remember the specifics. He does have a daughter in North Carolina, and that might be where he's going.
Yeah, I believe that's it. I think so. We're going to talk to him on the road because, ladies and gentlemen, he's got some interesting, and I don't mind adding, exclusive information about sea drones, or drones that the Navy uses, in this case, to rescue those two downed crew members of an Apache helicopter. So
we got to fix your angle here.
And okay, usually when you touch that, it will. And we are on the internet at YouTube, and hang. Not too bad. That's pretty good. I'd leave it at that. As we adjust the camera for the good folks on YouTube. But at any rate, when I was talking to Mike and he let me know yesterday, I won't be there, Roger, I'll be on the road. And I said, well, I was going to talk to you what you knew about drones that they use, the U.S. Navy. And he said, oh, yes, we've had that for some time. At any rate, so we're going to talk to him and learn more about drones and how they were used to, as I mentioned earlier, to rescue the crew members from the Apache helicopter.
Now, this was a drone ship that rescued them.
Well, they called it a vessel.
Yes, so, but not an airborne drone, which is what most people might think of.
You're right, and that's good clarification. And I guess when they put it in the water, it was an estimated 2 hours from where the crew members were. So I believe they were in the water, and they were injured, and what their injuries are or were was not revealed, and nor has it been indicated where they are, but they just indicated they're in stable condition. But as you know, you can be in critical condition and stable, you can be in good condition and stable. So when you hear, say, medical report they're in stable condition, that I guess means their vitals are okay. Vital meaning blood pressure, heart rate, and what other vital?
Mental status, respirations, blood flow, all kinds of different factors that are assessed quickly to see if a patient is stable.
Yeah, whenever a CNA came in to bedside when I was in the hospital, well, I'm here to get your vitals, Roger. Okay, get my vitals. Let me know if there's anything bad. Oh, no, I said, don't tell me if any. But at any rate, so we will talk to him. And, of course, another part of our staff on Thursdays, Terry Growy, is down in Niceville, Florida. Have you ever been to Niceville, Florida?
No, it would be nice to visit.
Yes, it would be nice to meet.
Niceville is a very small little town. Destin is out on like a barrier island, like a lot of places in Florida have those barrier islands with the beaches on them. And Niceville is basically just back on the mainland part of the panhandle of Florida. So it's very close to Destin. A lot of people, I think, go down there. A
lot of people from this area go down, I understand, to Destin.
It's certainly a little more stable and economical place to live than on the island itself, which is mostly hotels and resorts if you're out on the beaches there of Destin.
Where is Niceville in relation to a big city like Jacksonville, Orlando,
well, it's
or the villages?
Out on the peninsula, the western end of Florida peninsula.
So it's in the Gulf of America?
Yes, it's on the Gulf side, but it's on the northern Gulf.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
not far from, I guess it would be Alabama and Gulf shores.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I've gone down to Gulf Shores.
Yeah,
It
you'd
was
been
years
to Gulf
ago,
Shores, yeah.
and that's a nice area. A lot of high-rise apartments in Gulf Shores. Really, yeah,
People's vacation condos
yeah.
mostly, yeah.
And I learned when we went down with my daughter-in-law's family and son and grandson for that matter, and we would, as essentially three families, rent a house on the beach, and the house we rented for a number of years was called the White House, and I thought that was kind of cute. And of course, the house was all white, but it was on the beach, and really, if you figured it out with, let's see, 3 and 4, 7 people. And you average out on 3 families what it costs per family, it's cheaper than if you
Oh, yes.
took a room at a motel.
It can be much cheaper, and of course you get your own kitchen, your own
Right,
living
bathroom.
room, your bathrooms, your pool, or whatever else comes with the amenities of the rental home. And so that's why we do that quite a bit. We do the Airbnbs or the Verbo type rentals when we go down to Florida.
And you never had a bad experience, I understand.
We have not, although we certainly hear of
Other
many.
stories,
And of course, on these rental sites are reviews from previous people who have rented the home, and it can vary. Sometimes you see nothing but the 5-star reviews all through the reviews. But yeah, some of them will. I like to always start with the lowest rated reviews first and read those and see what people complain about. And there are some people that had very bad experiences, and yet I suppose if you've got 100 reviews from
well,
a
you're
place,
bound to have
and you've got
somebody
a couple
unhappy.
people, yeah, and 98 of them are high marks, and I would not pay much credence to the ones that had a bad experience. But if half of them are bad reviews, yeah, then I would skip that one.
Well, I know you developed a relationship with the owner of a house in Arizona. Was it owned by a family from Canada?
From Winnipeg in Manitoba.
Yes.
Yes.
And you got that on the listing of available homes to rent?
Originally, yes, I found that on homeaway.com, which is now Verbo, VRBO. It's the same website as Verbo is now. But yes, they originally had it listed, and so we would just contact them privately each year then after we first did it through the agency online, and maybe save a little bit that way. And they were just wonderful to work with. They loved us coming down there. In fact, when I stopped going there after the 21 or 22 year, they would call us each fall to see if we were coming, because they wanted to set that aside so they wouldn't be using it at the time that we were coming. That was always very nice of them to think of us before they would think their own schedule out. But we now have been going down to Florida the last 4 or 5 years just because our grandkids like the beaches.
Do you go to the same house or
same general
quarters?
area, the middle Gulf, southwestern
yeah,
Florida.
but is it the same house or just the same
No, it's not
area?
the same, because
Okay.
every year we go look for the same one we had because we enjoyed it. It's always rented, and so we got to look for a different one. So yeah, we've
But
never,
you've always had good experience. That's neato.
yeah, really, really good experiences. So yes.
All right. Well, let's do what we do every morning, bring you the most comprehensive news, weather, and sports. So we've got a lot to report. There's a lot of things going on locally and around the world. So let's get into it. Start with the weather, brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, making a difference in the lives of the folks they serve. Been around helping people since 1993 with home health care services, from skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. Wonderful people, and you can reach them at any hour of the day or night at Spoon River at 309-245-0723. That number again, 245-0723. 0723. Well, I think as everybody knows, we had quite a few storms in central Illinois. Some 10,000 people in our area are without power this morning after last night's thunderstorms. 9,000 of them in Peoria County at one time. Many areas, especially Chillicothe and Pekin, were hard hit with downed trees by the strong winds. Over in Pekin, the Pekin Hospital reported some damage, but nothing that would interrupt their services. Tornado watches were posted late into the night. We'll get more information with our live weather reports from our meteorologist Kyle Varnold later this morning. Well, with that as our information, how about today's forecast? Well, we have that handy as well, Roger. Partly sunny, windy, and warm today with a high of 87. A chance for late afternoon showers and thunderstorms starting after 5 p.m. Showers and thunderstorms this evening with a low 60 as the Turkey Festival in Tremont begins, you might say, unofficially tonight, this evening in Tremont. Not as warm tomorrow. Sunshine and a high of only 82 tomorrow night. Pleasant with an overnight low of 62. Turning to the weekend, Saturday sunny, a little warmer, a high of 86. Showers possible Saturday night. That's not good news. Sunday sunny, and are you ready for this? What do you think the high is going to be Sunday? You're right, 75 degrees.
Oh, I didn't know if it was going to be hotter or colder.
I can't believe it. 75. Good day for the Sabbath. Currently 68 degrees, and that's our live weather report this morning. Now let's get into the news. President Trump warned Iranian officials it was coming. What it is if they didn't get serious about signing a peace agreement. The president had the Trump card, pardon the pun, and he played it, ordering the resumption of attacks on Iranian targets. U.S. military officials reported the launching of 49 Tomahawk missiles and a number of airstrikes. Trump said the bombing will end, and so it has. The attacks come after an Iranian drone downed a U.S. Army Apache helicopter that was patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. The aircraft ditched in the waters, and the two crew members were able to survive. Thanks to our drone technology, American forces dispatched a drone sea vessel to where the two men were located, and 2 hours later, they crawled onto the vessel and returned to safety. President Trump said the rescue was miraculous. Indeed, it was. This was the first time we learned drones are used on the high seas for a variety of purposes. In another exclusive on our morning show, we'll learn about sea drones from U.S. Navy veteran Mike Dentino. He's on the road, but we'll chat with him after the 7:30 news this morning. The president, by the way, announced the retaliation against Iran during a White House celebration of the signing of his $70 billion bill that funds border and ICE agents and the Department of Homeland Security until the year 2029. Democrats failed, and they tried, but in both the Senate and House to block it. The vote was close, you'll recall, 214 to 212. In world news, Ireland may want to consult with the United States after rioting in Belfast after immigrants tried to behead one man. I don't know if you saw that video. That's ghastly. And another person stabbed in the hand. In the latter incident, British police actually handcuffed the bleeding victim. What a turn of events that is.
Maybe you're referring there to a case of a young man who was stabbed.
Right, that was it.
And told the police that he was stabbed by an immigrant, and they cuffed him and took him away and arrested him because you can't criticize immigrants over there. And he ended up dying.
He did die?
Yeah.
I did not have that.
Well, you may be referring to a different case, but
yeah.
A lot of upset about this young man. Henry Nowak is his name, that is causing a great deal of protests over in Britain because of how the police handled that. And then they refused to release the police video of it for a long time, finally did, and it just showed even worse things than
that might be the near beheading of a 30-year-old.
That was in Ireland.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about. When a 30-year-old immigrant from Sudan attacked a 40-year-old Belfast man with a knife, that person, and maybe this is who you're talking about, suffered the loss of his left eye, damage to the right eye, slash wounds to the neck, face, and back.
Yeah, no, again, that's different than the one that I'm referring to. I'm
Okay.
talking about one that occurred in London.
That had with the hand? Or that
An
might be a
An
third
immigrant
case.
stabbed him in the back, it punctured his lung, and he
Okay,
ended
that
up
one,
dying.
yeah, I don't have that one.
Yeah,
And-
that was a few weeks ago.
And you know, the rioters were dispersed by water cannons, and I've often wondered why we didn't use that. Very effective. I mean, you get hit by a water cannon, and you know you've been hit, and they were showing video of it, and it's worked very well, not only in this case in Ireland, but they've used them in Germany as well to disperse rioters who've gotten out of control. Well, in other news, Graham Plattner won the Democrat nomination for Maine Senate seat, but his behavior remains under attack. A U.S. Army veteran who received a Purple Heart after he was wounded in Afghanistan said Plattner is an embarrassment to veterans and others who suffer from PTSD. Ted Daniels is the guy's name. He was shot 4 times by Taliban fighters, and Plattner called him a dumb mother, and we'll leave the rest of the verbiage to your imagination. Plattner took the post down on social media when it was brought to the attention of millions of viewers. In local news, law enforcement agencies have caught and arrested those 2 dudes who attempted to rob the Heartland Bank in Washington, Illinois. 50-year-old Willie Franklin was nabbed in Fort Myers, Florida. I guess he was down there in one of those rented condos that you heard about that you
probably
mentioned.
had enough money to rent a condo down there.
And 48-year-old Dee Ward taken into custody in Tazewell County. The robbery took place Thursday, June 4th, around 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Officials have not released information. Did they get any money? Did they grab any checks? And that's been withheld
I
by...
don't remember seeing that,
No.
but yeah, they are calling it a robbery, so he must have gotten away with some cash.
Pekin police are asking for the public's help in finding a young Pekin girl, Sylvia Notter. She's been missing since Tuesday morning. A circulated photo shows she has blonde hair and a nose ring. No other details released about her identification. If you have information that could assist police, call them at 309-346-3132. It was a big day at the Komatsu campus on the city's north side yesterday. Familiar. That's my old neighborhood. The earth-moving manufacturer held a ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the opening of its new $28 million 3-story building. The company produces forklifts and a number of large and different-sized mining trucks. It sits on the grounds of the former R.G. Letourneau Company, which manufactured heavy-duty earth-moving equipment, including bulldozers and my favorite and well-known, they called them turnipoles. And I believe Caterpillar duplicated that bit of machinery. The story is told that Merle Yance, well-known family from the San Jose area. I knew Merle and his lovely family. And he left R.G. Letourneau and went to Caterpillar, and the next thing you know, Caterpillar was producing turnipoles. And that company, going back, opened in 1935, just a few blocks from where Roger grew up. Nice neighborhood. And that's a look at some of the stories we're following. Let's find out what WCBU has in the way of news this morning. And that's brought to you by Kyle Varnold of Fortner Insurance. Kyle, an insurance professional, he can review your portfolio of coverage from home, auto, life, and health to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. You can reach Kyle today, and we're going to reach out today and chat with him about the weather. You can talk to him about insurance. 682-0519 is his number. That's 682-0519.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Colleen Holden. The Citizens Utility Board says Illinois' largest private water utility wants to overcharge customers by more than $50 million. The Consumer Watchdog Group is challenging Illinois American Water's $142 million rate increase request, the utility's 4th hike in 10 years. Cub says the utility is asking for the highest profit ever sought by an Illinois utility. Spokesperson Jim Chilson says that's unfair to consumers.
Their bills have escalated alarmingly over the last decade.
If approved, a typical resident customer could pay about $14 more per month. Pekin residents who want to learn about Illinois American Water's proposed acquisition of the city's wastewater system can do so at an open house tomorrow. Employees from the utility company's operations, customer service, and other departments will answer questions one-on-one at City Hall. Pekin manager John Dawsey says the city is not involved with the open house. Illinois American Water mailed a notice of the Pekin open house to residents. The 2-hour meeting begins at 5 p.m. Local governments have started to adopt data center restrictions as the Illinois legislature failed to pass any data center regulations in the spring. Democratic State Senator Dave Kaler, who represents parts of Bloomington Normal, says he supported the Power Act, which could come back during veto session.
If it's done right, a data center is a good addition to any community, because I say this, in smaller communities where they're tending to locate, that becomes a tremendous tax base.
Kaler says he also supports the temporary pause on data center tax credits Governor J.B. Pritzker is trying to enact. And a $5.5 million renovation project will add 8 loft-style apartments and street-level retail space to Peoria's growing warehouse district. City Manager Patrick Urick says the development in the 900 block of Southwest Adams Street adds to the district's rising property values.
This investment will grow the property tax value, the assessed value of the property, by nearly 10 times.
To offset some of those higher taxes, the City Council has approved a redevelopment agreement that will reimburse the developers up to 20% of eligible project costs, capped at $1.1 million. I'm Colleen Holden.
All right, there you have the news from WCBU. Now let's turn to the world of sports. Dr. Gene Sidler is here, brought to you by BradleyFans.com. Any action, any conversation at this time of the year about Bradley basketball?
Very little, because it's, of course, middle of the summer now and not much going on. The basketball players who usually do arrive on campus about now are coming in to do some summer workouts, so that we've heard from a few reports of who are on campus. But recruiting right now is kind of dull, because we're in the month of June is what's called a quiet period, where coaches can't be in contact with the recruits unless they come to the campus and visit on a campus visit, and really not much of that is going on right now. So the schedule should be starting to leak out here pretty soon, the schedule for the 26-27 season. But yeah, really right now just
It's on the quiet side.
one of Bradley's coaching staff members just left to take a job elsewhere. We've had a couple of them leave this year that we've talked about, and where they went and who's replaced them. But you can find that on BradleyFans.com, but really not much else right now.
You still get a lot of hits, don't you? I mean, you blow me away with thousands of hits at BradleyFans.com.
People check in every day, so even if they aren't, there isn't much breaking news, we still get
It's amazing.
thousands,
You attribute that to your personality? Is that what it is?
No question. Roger.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. And your humility as well.
No, it's just that we have lots and lots of Bradley fans, and this is the one place you can find news every day. Before you'll find it anywhere else, and sometimes even when you never find it anywhere else.
You have uniqueness about it, because Bradley can't do it, with due respect to the university. They're guided by the rules and regulations of the NCAA. But you have no rules or regulations. You can do what you damn well please and do it.
Yeah, and some schools do have sports information directors and publicists who like to put news releases out every couple of days, even in the off season. Bradley just doesn't do that, and I don't know if it's because their sports information people are just sleeping on the job or what it is, but you would think that they would be a little bit more willing to feed information out to the fans, because there are tens of thousands.
Well, you're asking people to do their
people
job.
Who follow Bradley basketball.
You're asking people to do their job. I'll never forget one morning years ago when Mike Dentino, the father, was part of the show with Royce and I, and with Breakfast with Royce and Roger. And on the air, I said, Mike, who was employed at Caterpillar, as is and was his wife, I said, Mike, how many people, because, Caterpillar is not what it is today in Peoria in terms of numbers of employees as it was years ago. I said, Mike, how many people work at Caterpillar? And he said about 40%. And I'll never.
That's about right, yeah.
I'll never forget that. Well, at any rate, big basketball game last night, and maybe a record-setting comeback win. What are the details?
Well, the NBA Finals Game 4 was last night in New York City at Madison Square Garden. The San Antonio Spurs, who were at that point down 2-1, they dominated the Knicks in the first half of that game last night, built a 29-point lead, 27 points by halftime. The Knicks, though, gradually started to come back early in the second half, took a 1-point lead, 105-104 inside the final minute. That was their first lead of the game, well, since the start of the game. The Spurs, however, retook the lead back with a couple of free throws. So as the clock wound down into the final seconds, it was the Spurs ahead, 106-105. But the Knicks came back, missed a long three-pointer, but a tip-in at the buzzer gave the Knicks a 107-106 win to cap off the largest comeback in an NBA Finals game, 29 points that they made up to come back and win the game. The Knicks now lead that series 3-1. Game 5 is Saturday night in San Antonio. Going to be tough. I still think the San Antonio Spurs are capable of coming back to win that series, but right now it doesn't look like that's
doesn't look
happen.
good, does it?
No.
Yeah. Now they do move, as you say, to San Antonio
Yep,
for the
Game
next
5
game.
back in
Yeah.
San Antonio.
And do they play the last two games there? Or
Well, that
does-
would be Game 5, but no, I think they move back to New York for Game 6, and then Game 7 will be back in San Antonio.
Okay.
So I think they'll be back and forth now for the remaining 3 games of the series. So with 2 of them being in San Antonio, they just have to win one time in Madison Square Garden to try to make up that 3-game deficit, but that's going to be tough. I think
Yeah.
the Knicks, of course, have the great advantage now. And, of course, typical with New Yorkers, they rioted after the game.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of
well,
video.
they don't need much motivation or inspiration to riot.
Yeah.
That's their DNA in New York
There's
City.
video of them jumping on taxi cabs and other cars, breaking windows and doing all kinds of mayhem, but that's New York. So
Yeah.
after their previous win on Monday night, there were several assaults to the San Antonio fans as they were leaving.
I've
the
heard
stadium.
stories about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's just a bad city. You know, I know you've been there as I have. It's really a beautiful city. So much to see and so much to do, but they have a population there that a large, and too many of them, as a matter of fact, that make it a scary place to be.
Yes, no comment further.
Oh, okay. In other sports news,
Well, in other sports news, we'll go back to baseball. The St. Louis Cardinals beat the New York Mets yesterday 9-2. Cardinals now moving ahead 37-28 on the season. They will play the Mets again this afternoon in New York. So the Cardinals trying to make a move on the Brewers. The Chicago Cubs going the other direction. They lost to the Colorado Rockies 3-2.
did you watch that
last
game?
night. I followed it online, but I did not watch it. I was watching
Oh,
the basketball
it was
game.
depressing. Their ace reliever came in, didn't get anybody
Valencia
out.
walked the first batter,
yeah,
gave up
yeah.
2 hits, and
He was pathetic. It's
But
really a
the
shame.
Cubs had a chance there too in the 9th inning and just
And blew
couldn't do much. Their record now drops to 34-34. They are back to the 500 mark for the first time since the first week of the season. They are now 8 games behind the Brewers in that National League Central race. Still a lot of time left, and so the Cubs can straighten things out. I think they will be active at the trading deadline, trying to get more pitching. They will play the Colorado Rockies again this afternoon in an afternoon game. It'll be 2:10 p.m. Central Time. Trying to salvage one out of that series out in Denver. Chicago White Sox, with another really exciting win last night, beat the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are the best team in baseball, and the White Sox have knocked them off now in the first 2 games of that series. Last night, the Sox won 2-1, improved their record to 36-31, and they moved into first place in the American League Central. That's the
Wow.
first time they've been in first place in the division since they won the division on the last day of 2021. So White Sox really starting to look good here with this good young team. They play the Braves again in the final game of that 3-game series tonight. The Brewers, they lost last night to the Sacramento A's in Las Vegas, 4-3. That was the third game of the 3 games that they play in Las Vegas this week. 5 more home runs in that game. Roger, they hit 22 home runs in the 3-game series.
Because the fence allegedly, or
It's a
not allegedly,
smaller ballpark.
yeah,
But 22 home runs in a 3-game series between the 2 teams. I looked it up to see if that was a record, and it's not. The record is 24 home runs in a 3-game series set by the Yankees and Blue Jays in 2020. Also the Nationals and the Brewers in 2019. But yeah, still 20 for a couple of teams that don't hit a whole lot of home runs to hit 22 home runs in 3 games tells you there's something a little different about that ballpark. Last night the Peoria Chiefs lost to the South Bend Cubbies 5-3. Peoria, after sweeping that 6-game series last week against the Beloit Skycarp, now they've lost the first couple of games in this series at South Bend. Their record 30-29. That game started out about 2.5 hours late because of some rain that went through South Bend, and then it cleared up and they got in about 6.5 innings before the rain came again, and the game was ended at that point, 6.5 innings with South Bend ahead 5-3. That was the final score. The Chiefs will play the Cubs in South Bend again tonight, and that series continues through Sunday. One more important baseball score here, Roger, the Congressional Charity Baseball
yes,
game
you know, I
last night.
started to watch that between the Republicans and the
televised.
Democrats, and the Republicans have won 4 in a row the last 4 years and lead the series in 5 years.
5 years in a row. This was the 6th win in the row. The Republicans dominated the game, thrashing the Democrats 11-2.
Oh, wonderful. You know, go ahead, I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say, the difference is night and day. The Republicans have quite a number of guys that are really good at baseball. The Democrats, not so much. They gave up a lot of unearned runs, 4 errors in a 7-inning game. They called the game after 7 innings because it was getting embarrassing for the Democrats. 4 errors, so it just shows which party has the most mistakes. But it was the 6th. It was the 6th win in
bigotry
a
here,
row
there.
for the Republicans, and they haven't been close. In those last 6 games, the Republicans have outscored the Democrats 94-33. The game has been played since 1909, and the Republicans now lead the all-time series 48-42. There was 1 tie. Republicans have been very good here in recent years. For a long time, the Democrats dominated through the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and built a big lead in the
In the
overall
series,
but
yeah.
the Republicans have made that up.
Well,
They've
the
gone ahead.
Republicans back then were wimps. I wonder if Darren LaHood played at all. I just caught part of the game.
I switched back and forth and
Yeah.
watched some of it. I never saw his name mentioned, so I think probably not. But we'll have to ask Ray next time.
we'll
we
have
get a chance
to,
talk
if
to him.
he isn't playing, we'll have to maybe get Mike Dunn and who else? Jim Tomey.
We got to get him to an elected office first. Yeah.
Well, Darren's elected.
No, I mean Tomey and Dunn.
No, but I mean some special personal instruction.
Yes.
Maybe at, we used to have you had a pitching cage where you could take batting practice. And we'll have to check out, find out. I don't think Ray LaHood was an athlete either, so that probably follows.
I don't know, but we can ask Ray sometime.
It's a different story with Bob Michael. I think Bob Michael played. I know his kids, Bruce and anyway, his 2 sons were pretty good athletes. So, at any rate, hooray for the Republicans.
The NHL Stanley Cup Finals resume again tonight. Carolina Hurricane and Las Vegas Golden Knights. They're tied 2 games apiece. Game 5 is tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina, home of the Carolina Hurricanes. And today is another important day in sports this season because the 2026 Soccer World Cup, the tournament hosted every 4 years. This year it's hosted in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Starts today with 2 matches in Mexico, Korea versus Czechia and Mexico versus South Africa. U.S. men's national team play their first match tomorrow night in Los Angeles against Paraguay. That'll be on the Fox Network at 8 p.m. The U.S. men are ranked 17th in the world, so nobody's really expecting them to go too far in this tournament. But then again, Paraguay is ranked number 41, so I think they could win tomorrow night.
They might win.
We'll hope so.
Yeah.
They are favored. There are 48 teams in the tournament, 104 matches overall between today and the final championship game, which will be played on July 19th. That'll be a little over a month from now. So that should, of course, that's really big in every other country in the world, not as much here in the U.S.
Well, over the years, soccer has grown rather significantly. I remember when it was first introduced, and I did watch a little bit on television, and it wore me out. It's just run. It's like the Kaopectic Festival in Mexico. It's just run.
You can go an hour between any score. Or more sometimes.
That just wears me out.
Can you imagine sitting a couple of hours through a 0-0 tie?
Well, now some people in football, but football fans, there have been games that were 0-0 after the first half, and that's a nothing burger.
The MLS, the U.S. Top Pro League, now has tiebreakers, and that's kind of unique mostly to Americans, because most other countries revile at the idea of a tiebreaker. We should end it 0-0. That's soccer, But at least in the U.S. now, we now have tiebreakers for most of the pro leagues. But we'll see how that works out here in the World Cup. And, of course, one other note, good luck to the East Peoria High School baseball team, the only local team here playing still for the state championship. They'll play St. Rita of Chicago, Chicago St. Rita High School, tomorrow in the semifinal for the Class 3A state basketball championship. If they win tomorrow, it's a 10 a.m. game in Joliet. If they win tomorrow, they'll play, I believe, Saturday for the
where are they playing?
In Joliet. There's a park up there that
doesn't make sense. We have a beautiful ballpark here, and they have a great one over in Bloomington as well.
Yeah.
That they would play. Now I have a question, and I know you're not a Catholic, and I'm not a Catholic. I wonder if somebody would call us at 966-4044 and tell us who Saint Rita
I could certainly look that up. Bradley had a player from St. Rita, in fact, a couple of them over the years from
St. Rita?
St. Rita High School. Last one I can
I like
recall
the name.
was Michael Rumbert. He played for Bradley back in the early 2000s for Jim Less. Pretty good player from St. Rita High School. But
10 points. Who was the famous Hollywood actress whose first name was Rita?
Oh, Rita, blonde, dark-haired gal, wasn't she?
I thought she was a redhead. I don't know. Rita Hayworth.
Yeah, Rita.
Remember?
Hayworth.
A gorgeous
I think
hunk
you're
of
right. I
woman.
think she was a redhead. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
you
her.
bet.
She was a dancer too. I remember seeing her do some dancing in a film. I think most of her acting was more serious acting, but I think she was a dancer as well.
And that's sports, and you can get more information about particularly Bradley's sports, and especially basketball, by going to the well-known, heavily hit multiple times on BradleyFans.com.
And I have a quick answer. We're running a little bit late here. St. Rita was an Italian Catholic, a widow of Augustinian and an Augustinian nun. After her husband died, she joined a community of Augustinians. I'm trying to see what she was canonized for. She was canonized in 1900 by Pope Leo XIII. I guess that was the Leo.
Pope Leo?
Yeah, that was the Leo before the 14th now.
All right.
And
Now you're talking about
she is the,
Saint Rita, not Rita Hayworth.
Exactly.
Okay.
Saint Rita is canonized as the patroness of impossible causes. So she's like the female version of St. Jude, I guess that would make her.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah.
All right. And there you have it. Don't go away, because we're going to break for the news, headlines, and the weather. I want you to talk about health kits. They're coming on television in bundles anymore, and it could mean that you don't need a doctor anymore. You just sign up for a health
It's
kit.
not cheap, though. Those things are not cheap.
They're not.
The cheapest version, that's the Wellness Company.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that
Yeah, we'll
later.
talk about it. In the meantime, let's catch up with the news. And the news headlines, and we'll start with the news brought to you as a service of Morton Community Banks. They have over 50 branches across Illinois, offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe. Look for the clock tower, and I do, and you'll know they have time for you. You know, when you come into Morton off of 74 and you come down, I guess it's Morton Avenue, to the intersection just beyond Johnson's Floral, there's a big Morton.
Street.
Yeah, and they have on there happy birthday to some of their banking clients or members of the families that bank at Morton Community Bank. I think it's neat. I haven't seen, I've always wanted to see my name in lights or up on a banner. I remember my dear friend Royce Elliott was appearing in Las Vegas, and I forget who the reporter was that wrote, it was on the front page of the Peoria Journal-Star or Transcript or whatever, and it was a picture of him with his hand up in the air pointing to the marquee that said, starring comedian Royce Elliott. And I thought, boy, he had to just be filled with unlimited pride for achieving that. Young kid raised on the north end from Stephenville, Texas. A lot of people don't know that, but that was his hometown where he was born and raised, Stephenville. I don't know how he got to Peoria. I guess maybe his father went to work, I believe, for R.G. Letourneau, or, yeah, I think it was R.G. Letourneau. Anyway, where are we? We're going to give you the headlines, and brought to you, as we say, by Morton Community Bank. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you, in case you didn't hear it the first time. And we start with news that some 10,000 people in central Illinois are without power this morning after last night's thunder boomers. 9,000 of them at one time in Peoria County. Many areas, especially Chillicothe and Pekin, hard hit with downed trees by the strong winds. They had some damage over at the Pekin Hospital, and but nothing to interrupt services. And we're going to get more information, of course, with our live weather reports from meteorologist Kyle Varnold later this morning, so stay tuned. In other news, President Trump warned Iranian officials more bombing was coming if they don't get their act together and sign a peace agreement. The president ordered resumption of attacks on Iran. U.S. military officials reported they launched 49 Tomahawk missiles and a number of airstrikes. The bombing reportedly has now ended. Those attacks came after an Iranian drone downed a U.S. Army Apache helicopter that was patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. The aircraft ditched in the waters, and the two crew members were able to survive because American forces dispatched a drone sea vessel to where the two men were, and 2 hours later they crawled onto the vessel and returned to safety. And then this was the first time I think most of us learned drones are used on the high seas by the Navy for a variety of purposes. And the guy who kind of opened the door to more information, Mike Dentino, who is on the road heading out for a family visit, and we're going to talk to him after the 7:30 news, and he has some interesting tidbits about the sea drones. Ireland may want to consult with the United States after rioting in Belfast. An immigrant tried to behead one man, and another person stabbed in the hand by an immigrant. In the latter incident, British police actually handcuffed the bleeding victim. That's like a guy having a heart attack and said, "Oh, put your hands behind your back while you die." What a bunch of idiots. And the near beheading came when a 30-year-old immigrant from Sudan attacked a 40-year-old Belfast man with a knife. The victim suffered the loss of his left eye, damage to the right eye, slash wounds to the neck, face, and back. You talk about rioting. That is a new low level, I guess you might say. In this country, Graham Plattner won the Democrat nomination for Maine Senate seat, but his behavior remains under attack. A U.S. Army veteran who received a Purple Heart after he was wounded in Afghanistan Blattner is an embarrassment to veterans. In local news, law enforcement agencies have caught and arrested those two guys who attempted to rob the Heartland Bank in Washington, Illinois. 50-year-old Willie Franklin, I love that name, Willie, was nabbed in Fort Myers, Florida. And the other boring guy, 48-year-old D. Ward, was taken into custody right here in Tazewell County. The robbery took place Thursday, June 4th, around 4 p.m. So far, police have not said whether they got any cash or canceled checks. It was a big day at the Komatsu campus on the city's north side yesterday. The earth-moving manufacturer held a ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the opening of its new $28 million three-story building. The company produces forklifts and a number of large and different-size mining trucks. It sits on the grounds of the former R.G. Letourneau Company. Did you know anything about R.G. Letourneau?
One time I remember reading a history of how he got started with the earth-moving business, and his company ultimately became Caterpillar.
He was a Christian and out of Oklahoma, and used to fly into Peoria, and he got tired of flying into Peoria, and so he said, I'm going to build a runway alongside my plant and the Illinois River, and he bought land near Glen Oak Park, and I'm familiar with that area. It's my old neighborhood. And he used his turnipole. That was his famous landmark, you might say, signature product was a turnipole. And it was a scraper that would scrape the dirt into a large area behind the cab of the operator. And he ran those things 24 hours a day. So at night when we went to bed, you could hear the turnipole coming from near Glen Oak Park down Park Avenue, across Rock Island, North Madison, North Monroe, and then Adams, and they dumped all of this dirt. I think it took about 2 weeks, as I recall, and he built his own runway. So when he came from Oklahoma, he just landed right next to his plant. It was quite unique, to say the least. And there you have a bit of history. And now, how about a check of the weather? And it's brought to you by Matt Wall, CPA and tax specialist with Gordon Stockman Wall. Matt is experienced in a lot of financial affairs, including trust tax planning. If you need some help financially, he's the go-to guy. Matt Wall, 309-692-4030. Well, as we mentioned, a lot of power outages last night, and they're busy at Ameren restoring the electric services for numerous homeowners. Weather-wise, partly sunny, windy, and warm. High today, 87, a chance for late afternoon showers starting after 5 p.m. Showers and thunderstorms this evening, a low of 60. Don't forget the start of the Tremont Turkey Festival. Wonderful turkey sandwiches and strawberry shortcake. Not as warm tomorrow, and that's good. Nice temperature, high of 82 under sunny skies. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow night, pleasant. Overnight low of 62. And turn to the weekend, Saturday, sunny, a little warmer, 86. Showers possible Saturday night. Sunday, sunny, and a wonderful 75 for the high. And right now, our temperature at 69 degrees. There you have the news and the weather at the bottom of the hour. I'll tell you what, I can't believe you pulled the picture I was talking about on the front page of the Journal Star, and you pulled that off of the internet. There's a lot. The internet has a lot of bad stuff, but boy, I tell you, be able to do it. And there you have the picture of him holding up.
It's possible to find stuff. If it's ever been posted anywhere on the internet, you can find it.
You can
if you
find
look
it.
hard enough for it. And this came from an article in the Journal Star that was posted about him back. It might have been back in
I'm trying to think.
yeah, it was right after he passed away. An article in the Journal Star.
So they reposted the story did with the picture.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful guy. No Royce knew from high school days. And a little personal story. When I graduated in 1955, the speech department offered me a graduate assistantship. Said, if you work on your master's degree, we'll hire you as a graduate assistant and you can teach. I said, wonderful. So I taught 2 speech classes each semester. And I remember the first day, first class, in walks Royce Elliott. I said, Royce, what are you doing? He said, I'm taking a class from you, Roger. And he made fun of me later on, of course, for a variety of reasons. But he used to tell people, this is my classmate, my old friend. We weren't really classmates. He was a couple of years behind me. But anyway, we were friends from high school days. And he used to tell people, I got a B from my friend. My friend gave me a B. And my answer was, if you would come to class a little more regularly, Royce, you would have earned an A. Because this guy could walk in, and, you know, when you had students, gave them a speech assignment, as the instructor sat in the back of the classroom and wrote notes down and evaluated and then handed it to the student after the student finished speaking. Well, when Royce knew he was going to speak that day, I watched him. He'd come in and sit down, and they always had to hand me an outline of their speech, introduction, and body, and conclusion. And it could be kind of simple, but not as simple as he would. He would sit there writing out his outline in preparation for when he would get up. And we did it on a volunteer basis. Who wants to go first? Who wants to go second, etc. Well, Royce would wait until he had his outline done. And as you would expect, get up and give a, you know, like better than Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. I mean, he had that ability to stand and think on the spur of the moment and deliver a speech that would be a Golden Globe award-winning acceptance speech, for that matter.
Well, as you know, he was a longtime patient of mine, and in one sense, it was always entertaining and fun to have him on my schedule on a certain day, but in another sense, not so much, because
on too long.
He would do about a 30-minute comedy routine while I've got a backup of patients to see the rest of the afternoon.
Did you ever tell your nurse, sometimes your wife, by the way, say, look, if I don't come out after so many minutes, would you come in and interrupt and say, Dr. Sidler, we need you in room 4?
Not with Royce, but you know, that's a technique that I did have to resort to on a couple of occasions. You know, if you have enough patients, you're going to have a couple of them that just talk incessantly, and nothing stops them. You've met that kind of person.
Yes.
And they do not get offended if you walk out on them, but I just never had the heart to do that. So I would tell my nurse, if I'm in there beyond 15, 20 minutes, page me.
Yeah,
and my pager would go off. This was back in the early days when we used pagers.
When you had pagers.
Yeah, my pager would go, oh, this is an emergency. I have to go.
Yeah,
answer.
yeah. Hey, nice talking to you.
Yeah, that would kind of break up the monologue and get things back on track.
Back on track.
But yeah. It did have to be done a couple times, maybe once or twice.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about these health kits. I've seen 2 versions now advertised on television, and I know you have as well. You have to kind of shudder somewhat because I can think of, but you're the doctor and you can tell what the dangers are of getting a kit, a package with antibiotics without any prescription. In reality, technically, I guess if they sign off on it, they are issuing them, but issuing them like you're practicing medicine from the curb.
Exactly. I believe this started probably back maybe around 1990 or so. And you know what drug it sort of promoted this idea of prescribing online or prescribing over the phone? It was Men's Health type drugs.
Well, yeah.
It was Viagra. People were
That was the first. So
embarrassed
yeah.
to go to a doctor or to go to a pharmacy and get a Viagra prescription. So online, a few companies started to pop up. This was in the 1990s at the early phases of the internet. I think it was right around 2000. Actually, it was more accurate that you could arrange for a doctor online to prescribe it for you, and then they would ship it to you. And then it grew into more and more things. It turns out that most states do allow physicians to prescribe for patients without actually seeing them face to face. So as long as they hire a physician on their staff and they ultimately end up signing off on these prescriptions, it fulfilled legal requirements, I believe, in every state, or at least in most states. And so these companies grew and became more and more varied in what they offered. And now you've got these medical emergency home kits that you can buy online that contain a number of prescription medications. Some of them potentially pamphlet where you look up your symptom and it tells you what you might have and tells you which drug might be good for you, and then it's up to you to decide whether to take it. But they do also offer an 800 number where you can converse with a medical person. Now, I wonder if it would just be maybe a nurse or somebody first before you would actually ever see or talk to a doctor, but this telehealth kind of concept that is actually widely done now by hospitals and doctors' offices has caused this kind of thing to explode in popularity on the internet. And yes, you can order these kits. The one I'm looking at online right now is the basic medical emergency kit, $299. Now, that doesn't include a few of the medicines that are extra add-ons, like ivermectin. If you're kind of into this idea that ivermectin is going to cure everything, which of course it's not. We could go into that topic as well. There are people who believe that ivermectin cures COVID, and that somehow it was banned because people wanted you to get COVID and get sick. But no, you can pay extra to get some of these a little bit more expensive medications. But the basic kit includes amoxicillin, which is a broad spectrum antibiotic, azithromycin, which is really good for strep infections that cause most colds and sinus and bronchial infections, doxycycline, which is very good for some respiratory infections as well as skin infections and so forth. And metronidazole, that's an antibiotic that is good for intestinal infections. Trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole is a combination antibiotic that is probably the most widely prescribed antibiotic for urinary tract infections. And then on and on, a few other things, topical medications and so forth. And again, that you can buy for $2.99, and I imagine they sell a lot of those. You can you get refills of certain medications if you use them up. And like I say, there's a list of additional add-on medications you can also get if you have a need for them or a desire for them. I should put it that way, because nobody really knows if you're taking them for the right indication in those kind of circumstances. But I guess the way it's done is that they do have a physician that signs off on these prescriptions, and that makes it legal. And yet it does concern me that people are self-medicating without any knowledge of what they're doing.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't tell this personal story about you, but as we've mentioned on previous occasion or two, that you were our family physician, and I remember asking you for a prescription for Viagra, and your response was, Roger, giving you Viagra would be like putting up a new flagpole on a condemned building, and you rejected that. That still hurts to this day.
For the record, I think that sounds more like a Royce Elliott joke, and
no, actually, that
did not actually happen.
When Harvey Korman told that, he came to town with Tim Conway at the theater at the Civic Center, and he told that story. Those two guys were a riot. And there's an interesting story about Harvey. When he came on the Carol Burnett show, apparently he had an attitude problem, and he was kind of uppity with everybody. And Carol Burnett told this story. And after I guess a rehearsal or maybe a show or whatever, she called Harvey into his office and said, this almost arrogant attitude that you have, Harvey, doesn't sit well with me or with others, and you're either going to change or you're not going to be on the show. And I guess it was a meeting that renovated his personality and his relationship with other people. And he turned out to be a very successful, funny man. And when he and Tim Conway would do their skits, sometimes my understanding is from what Harvey said later, as well as Carol Burnett, they did not know what Tim Conway was going to do. They just said, you have 2 minutes to do whatever you want to do.
Or even if they had a script, he would go off script more often than not. So,
Yes,
so that would
absolutely.
crack up everybody else in the skit. Harvey Korman was a serious actor. He was not a comedian for most of his career in Hollywood.
I didn't know
He
that.
did movies. He was never a marquee A-list type actor. But so comedy was not something he was all that.
His forte.
Yeah, that much into. So when he did initially do the Carol Burnett show, I think he had a problem with the self-deprecation and things that comedians have to really be quite good at. He was not good at that, and so he took sort of umbrage to some of the stuff that was poked fun at with him, and maybe that accounts for some of that attitude that he might have had earlier on, and then that changed, and pretty soon he kind of became the straight man to Tim Conway's comedic stuff, and he became very good at it. And some of those videos of the old Carol Burnett routines
they're classics,
are
aren't
still
they? Yeah.
all over the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter, X.com now, and you can buy those CDs and DVDs now of the show, and they sell like crazy. You see the ads on TV to buy the old Carol Burnett DVD series with all those old skits and things on them, because they are just hilarious.
They certainly are. You're having breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube. Hey, it's after 7 o'clock. Let's bring you up to date with our news and what we're following this morning. And thanks for joining us this morning. We start with a check of the weather brought to you by Sam Lilly and Associates. Sam providing a comprehensive range of insurance products, including personal auto, home, life, and medical coverage. Sam specializes in Medicare plans and options. That's something he's been doing during his, count them, 40 years in the business. You can reach Sam Lilly today at 309-245-4374. Some 10,000 people in central Illinois are without power, or were. They're doing a pretty good job of restoring outages this morning after last night's thunder boomers. 9,000 of them at one time in Peoria County alone. Many areas, especially Chillicothe and Pekin, were hard hit with downed trees by the strong winds. Pekin Hospital reported some damage at their building in the Celestial City. Tornado watches were posted late into the night, and we'll get more information about what took place last night and what's going to happen with our astute meteorologist Kyle Varnold later this morning. And since we're talking about the weather, here's today's forecast. Partly sunny, windy and warm with a high of 87. A chance for late afternoon showers starting around 5:30 this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms this evening with a low of 60 as the Big Turkey Festival begins in Tremont. Not as warm tomorrow on a pretty nice day, sunshine and a high of 82 tomorrow night. Pleasant low of 62. Turning to the weekend, Saturday sunny and a little warmer, a high of 86, and showers possible Saturday night. Sunday sunny and a wonderful 75 for the high. Currently, our temperature, we're still at 68 degrees, and that's our live weather report this morning. And now the news. President Trump warned Iranian officials it was coming if they didn't get serious about signing a peace agreement. The president had the Trump card, pardon the pun, and he played it, ordering the resumption of attacks on Iranian targets. U.S. military officials reported the launching of 49 Tomahawk missiles and a number of airstrikes. Trump said the bombing will end after a few hours, and it did. The attacks come after an Iranian drone downed a U.S. Army Apache helicopter that was patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. The aircraft ditched in the waters, and the two crew members were able to survive thanks to our drone technology. Pretty amazing. American forces dispatched a drone sea vessel to where the two men were located, and 2 hours later, they crawled onto the vessel and returned to safety. This was the first time we learned drones are used on the high seas for a variety of purposes, and we're going to learn more about sea drones from U.S. Navy veteran Mike Dentino. He's on the road. He's not with us, but he and his lovely bride are on the road to visit family. But we'll chat with him after our 7:30 news coming up, so stay tuned. The president announced a retaliation against Iran during a White House celebration of the signing of his $70 billion bill that funds border and ICE agents and the Department of Homeland Security until the year 2029. Ireland may want to consult with the United States after rioting in Belfast. Immigrants tried to behead one man and another person stabbed in the hand in that later incident. British police actually handcuffed the bleeding victim in certainly an act that might one say was kind of dumb. The near beheading came when a 30-year-old immigrant from Sudan attacked a 40-year-old Belfast man with a knife. The victim suffered the loss of his left eye, damage to the right eye, slash wounds to the neck, face, and back. Graham Plattner won the Democrat nomination for Maine Senate seat, but his behavior remains under attack. A U.S. Army veteran who received a Purple Heart after he was wounded in Afghanistan said Plattner is an embarrassment. In local news, law enforcement agencies have caught and arrested those two dudes who attempted to rob the Heartland Bank in Washington, Illinois. 50-year-old Willie Franklin, I love that name, was nabbed in Fort Myers, Florida, and 48-year-old Dee Ward was taken into custody in Tazewell County. The robbery took place, you may recall, Thursday, June 4th, around 4 p.m. And Pekin police, I hope we get an update on this, are asking for the public's help in finding a young Pekin girl, Sylvia Notter. She's been missing since Tuesday morning. A circulated photo shows she has blonde hair and a nose ring. No other details about her identity released. If you have any information that could help police find her, call them at 309-346-3132. And it was a big day at the Komatsu campus on the city's north side at Jefferson and Adams. And happened yesterday. The earth-moving manufacturer held a ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the opening of its new $28 million three-story building. The company produces forklifts and a number of large and very different size mining trucks. You can see the huge one at the entrance to the plant, which sits on the grounds of the former R.G. Letourneau Company, which manufactured heavy-duty earth-moving equipment, including bulldozers and its well-known turnipoles. Those are some of the stories we're following. Now we get more news from our friends at WCBU.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Colleen Holden. The Citizens Utility Board says Illinois' largest private water utility wants to overcharge customers by more than $50 million. The consumer watchdog group is challenging Illinois American Water's $142 million rate increase request, the utility's fourth hike in 10 years. Cub says the utility is asking for the highest profit ever sought by an Illinois utility. Spokesperson Jim Chilson says that's unfair to consumers.
Their bills have escalated alarmingly over the last decade.
If approved, a typical resident customer could pay about $14 more per month. Pekin residents who want to learn about Illinois American Water's proposed acquisition of the city's wastewater system can do so at an open house tomorrow. Employees from the utility company's operations, customer service, and other departments will answer questions one-on-one at City Hall. Pekin manager John Dawsey says the city is not involved with the open house. Illinois American Water mailed a notice of the Pekin open house to residents. The 2-hour meeting begins at 5 p.m. Local governments have started to adopt data center restrictions as the Illinois legislature failed to pass any data center regulations in the spring. Democratic State Senator Dave Kaler, who represents parts of Bloomington Normal, says he supported the Power Act, which could come back during veto session.
If it's done right, a data center is a good addition to any community, because I say this, in smaller communities where they're tending to locate, that becomes a tremendous tax base.
Kaler says he also supports the temporary pause on data center tax credits Governor J.B. Pritzker is trying to enact. And a $5.5 million renovation project will add 8 loft-style apartments and street-level retail space to Peoria's growing warehouse district. City Manager Patrick Urick says the development in the 900 block of Southwest Adams Street adds to the district's rising property values.
This investment will grow the property tax value, the assessed value of the property, by nearly 10 times.
To offset some of those higher taxes, the City Council has approved a redevelopment agreement that will reimburse the developers up to 20% of eligible project costs, capped at $1.1 million. I'm Colleen Holden.
Let's get into the world of sports, lots of activities, and who better to report on a Thursday morning than Dr. Gene Sidler, and we say very affectionately brought to you by BradleyFans.com. You're on the air, Gino.
Well, thank you, Roger. Even though I'm more of a college basketball fan as far as basketball goes, the NBA Finals have turned out to be pretty exciting to watch, and last night's game was no exception. Game 4 of the NBA Finals last night in New York City at Madison Square Garden. The San Antonio Spurs, who were down 2-1 through the first 3 games, they just dominated the New York Knicks in the first half and built as much as a 29-point lead, led by 27 points at halftime. But the Knicks, they gradually started to come back right away in the third quarter, took a 1-point lead with just less than a minute to go in the game, 105-104 at that point. San Antonio did retake the lead by 1 point with a couple of free throws on their next possession, but then the Knicks scored on a tip-in with 1.2 seconds left to win the game, 107-106. So the Knicks now lead that 7-game series, best of 7 series, 3-1. They capped off the largest comeback in an NBA Finals game in NBA history, of 29-point deficit. And the Knicks are looking pretty solid now to possibly win their first NBA title since 1973. That was the Willis Reed era.
Oh, boy, you are going back, yeah.
I think he... where was he from? From somewhere, Louisiana?
Willis Reed.
Somewhere. I would look that up.
You know what? You can go to BradleyFans.com. Probably somebody will
Somebody
give
will
you
know
an
it,
answer.
yes.
Yeah. But don't leave us yet.
So now down 3-1, the San Antonio Spurs still have a chance. Game 5 is Saturday in San Antonio. The games are on ABC. And I'm seeing that they're getting some pretty good ratings, probably having New York in the finals along with, well, San Antonio's a pretty interesting team. They've got that 7'5" big guy, Victor Wembanyama, that is really quite an incredible player, and he's still very young. This is only his second year in the league, and so he's going to be around for a long time. Really fun to watch. Over in the NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals are going on at the same time, and the Carolina Hurricanes and Las Vegas Golden Knights are currently tied at 2 games apiece in the best of 7 series. Game 5 is tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina. And baseball last night and yesterday, St. Louis Cardinals beat the New York Mets 9-2. Cardinals now 37-28, trying to hang in there with the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cardinals will play the Mets in New York again this afternoon in the final of that 3-game series. The Chicago Cubs lost to the Colorado Rockies 3-2. Cubs dropped to a 34-34 record, now 8 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers in that National League Central Division. The Cubs will play the Rockies again this afternoon in an afternoon game, 2:10 p.m. Central Time. And the White Sox won last night, beat the Atlanta Braves, a team with the best record in baseball, for the second night in a row. Last night's score 2-1. White Sox now 36-31, all alone in first place in the American League Central. That's the first time they've been in first place in their division, the American League Central, since the last day of the 2021 season, which they won that division in 2021. The Sox will play the Braves again tonight in the final of that 3-game series. And the Peoria Chiefs lost last night to the South Bend Cubs 5-3 in a slightly rain-shortened game. The game was actually delayed 2.5 hours to begin with, and then was called in the 7th inning when rain came back and did not look like it was going to stop anytime soon, with the South Bend Cubs leading 5-3, and that was the final score. The Chiefs will play the South Bend Cubs again tonight, and that series continues through Sunday. And one more baseball score, as we reported last hour, the Congressional Charity Baseball game last night that's been going on since 1909. I didn't realize that charity baseball game has been going for 115 years, something like that, since 1909. The Republicans lead the all-time series 48-42, and last night was no exception. The Republicans just dominated the game. The Democrats had 4 errors that led to a number of unearned runs.
Yeah, they weren't very good, were they?
They were throwing the ball all over the field. The Republicans ended up winning the game 11-2. It was their 6th blowout win in a row.
Yeah.
And as I say, they now lead the series 48-42, and there was one tie.
Yeah, I understand the manager of the Republican team went over and had this to say to the manager of the Democrat team.
You can't handle the truth.
I think they are filing impeachment papers today.
Yeah,
for that.
that's right.
One other big story here as we enter the Soccer World Cup for 2026. This year's World Cup is hosted by the United States, Mexico, and Canada. 3 teams combining, working together to host these matches. You know, Chicago was one of the teams that the FIFA, the Federation of International Football Association, whatever it is, that governs all of this, they wanted games in Chicago, but as is typical of the Chicago politicians, they just messed it up. I would use more foul language if it was not on the air.
You can, but you don't even allow that on your BradleyFans.com
No, I don't.
site.
And I don't use it very often.
Yeah.
Or my wife will get mad at me.
Yeah.
But the politicians in Chicago just really messed it up. We're not willing to put a few bucks into Soldier Field to upgrade some of the facilities for soccer. The whole thing just fell apart, and FIFA decided, hey, we got other cities that want to host the games. Heck with you, Chicago. So no games in Chicago, even though, you know, the largest Polish concentration of Polish people outside of Poland is in Chicago.
Didn't know that.
And there's almost as many Polish people in Chicago as there are in the largest city in Poland, Warsaw. So yes, they would have probably gotten a game with the Polish national team if they had participated, and probably some other teams as well. But that's not going to happen.
I'm a big supporter of Poland. I love Polish sausage.
Well, that's good.
Yes,
there's
it is.
probably
It
a
is
few
good.
other things that Poland's good for.
Yes, you bet.
The U.S. The first games are today in Mexico, Korea versus Czechia, and the other one is Mexico versus South Africa. The games are in, let's see, the Mexico-South Africa game is in Mexico City. The South Korea-Czechia game is in Guadalajara, Mexico, just down a little bit across the border on the Pacific side there. A big medical school in Guadalajara. There's a few doctors here in Peoria that are graduates of the Guadalajara Medical School.
I can't even pronounce it, let alone know exactly where it is.
The United States men's team, they play their first match tomorrow night. It's in Los Angeles against the team from Paraguay, a South American team. 8 p.m. on the Fox network. Men are ranked number 17th overall in the FIFA rankings, and the team from Paraguay is ranked number 41. So U.S. is heavily favored in this match. We shall see. They just have not been consistent in their matches, what they call the friendlies, the exhibition matches that are played quite a bit leading up to the World Cup matches. The U.S. has been very inconsistent, so we'll see if they can hang in and at least make it a few rounds into the tournament. 48 teams overall, 104 matches overall leading up to the championship match on Sunday, July 19th. And good luck to the East Peoria boys baseball team. They play Chicago St. Rita tomorrow in the semifinals for the Class 3A state baseball title. That's at 10 o'clock a.m. in Joliet. If they win, they will play for the state championship in Class 3A. They have got quite a team. You know, as you recall, Roger, I went up to a White Sox baseball game about 4 weeks ago, played the Detroit Tigers, and the East Peoria baseball team was up there at the White Sox game.
Whoa.
They have a young pitcher. He's already committed to Illinois State. He's only a junior. I wish Bradley could have gotten him. They have this pitching net where fans can throw the ball, and it's measured by a radar,
speed.
a speed gun, and the record was something like 92 miles an hour or something like that. This pitcher from East Peoria High School threw a fastball 97 miles an hour without any warm-up or anything. And then he came back and did it again and hit 98. And now holds the record at Comiskey Park in their pitch net
Holy
there.
cow.
So they've got some talent on that team. I was really impressed. I did not see that happen. Jim Mattson had a little blurb about it on his Twitter account, and there's a video of it posted up on Twitter by the East Peoria baseball team of this boy throwing a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Most major leaguers don't throw that hard.
Yeah. You know, as we were talking, I wondered how fast Dave Poehls, you know, is a co-host with us on Wednesday. And I wonder, let's get a hold of him on the line. Dave, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. How fast do you think you can throw a fastball?
Well, now, first of all, that implies that I have to pick it up off the ground first.
Yeah.
So is that part of it, too?
Well, yeah. Well, at any rate, you want to tell us about a big event that's coming up this weekend.
I do.
Tell our listeners what we're talking about. Simply the best I know.
That sounds great. Well, first of all, good morning, friends.
Good morning.
Happy to hear everybody. I hope that middle chair is still warm. Is that okay? I mean, it feels weird not sitting in that today. Yes, this weekend we have a great event coming up. It's called Simply the Best. It's at Peoria Players. And so, again, I'll give you to start by giving you the times and dates. Friday, it's tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. is the opening night. And then there's matinees on Saturday at 1:30 and Sunday at 1:30. So what is Simply the Best? It is a great show. It's a Broadway review. If you like some of the musicals such as The Wiz, Hamilton, Wicked, Grease, you name it, that's just a few of them. It's a coming together of students from all over, Peoria Public, Pleasant Valley, Morton, Dunlap, Brimfield, Limestone, Metamora, Notre Dame. I mean, the whole Central Illinois. Some of them are high school, some college. There's even a few middle school. These are all talented students that auditioned for this Broadway musical review. So what's the purpose, you might add? Well, it's simply to, number one, bring students from all over just to work together, and it benefits arts and education. As I've mentioned before, I'm a member of Friends of the Peoria Regional Office of Education, and we do yearly supporting arts and education programs. So this is a great opportunity for you to see what these talented students are doing. And again, I've seen just snippets of some of the rehearsals this week, and it is phenomenal. It'll knock your socks off, so I would recommend just wearing sandals. I don't know.
It sounds like an exciting production, and it's on behalf of in the long-term, short-term improvement of academic opportunities for our kids.
Absolutely. It's so again, one of the things is just to support arts and education in general. It's a year-long endeavor, as you can imagine, students in their schools, but also throughout the summer. And what it also does is strengthens the community. So yeah, it's a great opportunity.
I
We recommend.
Are you entertaining? Are you part of the cast?
No, the entertainment will be that I won't be entertaining.
Oh, okay.
That right there is enough.
Yeah.
No, we'll just open it up, and it kind of runs itself. And one of the things, too, that you'll see is just how talented these kids audition, as I mentioned earlier, but just that feeling of warmth, of just togetherness. It's a true celebration. I do want to mention Mary Ellen Ulrich and Brian Blanks. If you've been familiar with productions, music, theater in this community for years, this goes back decades and decades. They've directed most of the Peoria Players, Cornstalk, you name it, and so they're co-directors of this, and they're doing a phenomenal job. I have the great pleasure of working with them throughout the year, and they put a great product out. So again, if you're interested, again, PeoriaPlayers.org is where you can go to get tickets. $15, and again, it's a fundraiser. It goes right to arts and education programs. Again, we thank Peoria Players for just their generous hosting and sponsorship, along with many other people who are just simply involved in making this a better community. So again, $15, you can get the door, general admission. You can go online to get them, or just simply go into the box office at Peoria Players.
Dave, this is Gene Sidler, and I'm on your website, or the website for Peoria Players, and yes, they have a very easy to navigate website, just a button for each of the 3 performances that you might want to choose, and easy to buy the tickets. I have a question. Is this the first year that you've done this particular show, or is it something that's been going on before?
No, okay. This is the first year. We've done a couple things throughout the year. Back in February, we did kind of a musical review at Jack's Pizza Tavern in Bartonville, and had a great crowd. And from there, this has just been kind of something that's been planned since last fall, really to showcase what students are doing around the area. So yeah, it's phenomenal. First time. We'll see how it goes.
Well, and I also would encourage people who just want to learn more about it before they might commit to going to it, that you've got a nice description of everything on the Facebook page for Peoria Players Theater. And so you can just go to Facebook and search for Peoria Players Theater, all one word, and you'll find their website. Really a good description of some of the musicals that are featured, the songs from Hairspray, The Wiz, Hamilton, Wicked, Grease, as you said. You mentioned some of those, and I'm sure there's others, and the schools that are involved. This sounds like a really exciting thing to do, and I'm sure that it's very entertaining. And that theater, it's not an enormous theater, so all the seats are outstanding seats to be able to view the stage and see the show.
Not a bad seat in the house, Gene. You are absolutely right, and you said it all very well. But again, this is, you're going to be seeing some of the best talent to offer. I mean, every single musical number from what I've seen is just phenomenal. Lots of dancing, singing, you name it.
Yeah, we just got to note that since you announced that you are not in the show, ticket sales have spiked.
Absolutely. I'll be yodeling in a corner. I don't know.
Whatever.
So no, it's just phenomenal, and it truly is a celebration of students, art, and what these kids have been doing for so long. And what's neat is the age range. You're running all the way up to graduates. This is an extension of the spring celebration, the Geraldine Burkhart Arts and Education Spring Celebration down at the museum campuses we just concluded. And a lot of those performances you might have seen this spring will be coming back again. Most of the students in this have been in the 41 years of the spring celebration. They're either alumni or they're currently doing some things. So, yeah, in some ways, an encore.
Well, we want to urge everybody to buy tickets, get out and see a wonderful show for a wonderful benefit, educationally speaking. And God bless you and all the people that help make this happen.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for allowing us to spread the word, as it were.
You got it.
We got a great community, don't we?
You sure do. Wonderful people in Central Illinois. Yeah. Wouldn't want to live anywhere else but right here.
I'm with you there.
I got it. All right. Thanks, Dave. God bless you. Have a great day, my friend.
God bless you, too. Have a great day yourself.
Thanks,
Dave Poehls. And we continue. We're going to talk to Mike Dentino about the this sea drone, these vessels that are on the water, and he's familiar with them as a Navy veteran. So that's coming up. But first, let's pause for the news at the bottom of the And the news at the bottom of the hour brought to you by Bob Manning. Bob is Senior Vice President, Financial Advisor with the Grandview Capital Group at Morgan Stanley. For all your investment needs, how about checking into Bob Manning? He's available at 309-671-4653. That's 671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. And let's start with a check of the weather. Well, first of all, want to tell you about power outages. Some 10,000 people in central Illinois at one time were without power, including this morning after last night's thunderstorms. 9,000 of them in Peoria County alone. Many areas, especially Chillicothe and the city of Pekin, were hard hit with downed trees by the strong winds. They had some damage at the Pekin Hospital in the Silicio City. Tornado watches were posted late into the night on television, and we'll get more information about our weather, past and present, with a live weather report from our meteorologist, Kyle Varnold, later this morning. Partly sunny, windy, and warm today, a high of 87. A chance for late afternoon showers and thunderstorms starting after 5 this afternoon. Showers and thunderstorms this evening with a low of 60. Not as warm tomorrow, sunny 82, and tomorrow night, overnight low of a pleasant 62. And turning to the weekend, Saturday sunny, a little warmer, a high of 86, and showers possible Saturday night. Sunday, just an absolutely beautiful day, sunny and 75 for the high. And currently our temperature, well, finally we moved up a degree. It's 69. President Trump warned Iranian officials more bombing was coming if they didn't sign that peace agreement, and they didn't, so the president ordered resumption of attacks on Iran. U.S. military officials reported the launching of 49 Tomahawk missiles and a number of airstrikes. The bombing is over for now. Those attacks, by the way, folks, came after an Iranian drone downed a U.S. Army Apache helicopter that was patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. The aircraft ditched in the waters, the two crew members able to survive because American forces dispatched a sea drone vessel to where the two men were located, and 2 hours later they crawled onto the vessel and returned to safety. They are hospitalized, however. This was the first time we learned about drones used on the high seas. And stay tuned, because we're going to talk to U.S. Navy veteran Mike Dentino about those drones, and he knows a little bit about them. Ireland may want to consult with the United States after rioting in Belfast. Immigrants tried to behead one man and another person stabbed in the hand. The near beheading came when a 30-year-old immigrant from Sudan attacked a 40-year-old Belfast man with a knife. The victim suffered the loss of his left eye, damage to the right eye, slash wounds to the neck, face, and back. Horrible story. Let's turn to some local news. Law enforcement agencies have caught and arrested those two dudes who attempted to rob the Heartland Bank in Washington across the river. And 50-year-old Willie Franklin, he was nabbed in all places in Fort Myers, Florida, not too far from where Dr. Sidler and Becky have a vacation home.
We have stayed in Fort Myers Beach a few times. A lot of people confuse them and think they're the same city, but they're not. They're about 20 miles apart.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I've been to Fort Myers many times. Nice city.
Nice city. And so Willie was taken into custody, and in Tazewell County, multiple law agencies apprehended 48-year-old D. Ward. That robbery, by the way, took place Thursday, June 4th, around 4 p.m. We never did learn if they got any cash. Well, it was a big day at the Komatsu campus on the city's north side yesterday, located at the intersection of Jefferson and Adams for those who might be familiar with the North End. And the company held a ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the opening of a new $28 million three-story building facility. The company produces forklifts and a number of large and different size mining trucks. And there you have a look at the weather and the news that we're following. We say 69 degrees. We're going to talk to Mike Dentino. We'll hook up with him following this important message.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Okay, speaking of the devil, well, that's no way to introduce Mike Dentino. Here he is on the line, on the road again. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Roger. How's it going today?
Good. Where are you exactly? Are you in Washington, El Paso? Where are
Actually, I am just a very short distance from the Ivy League halls of Yale. We're in Hamden, Connecticut.
Wow. You went further. You know, I had you in the southeast, but you're in the east.
Yes, we're getting ready to park the car in Harvard Yard.
Okay, well, I don't want to hold you up. You know a little bit about drones, and I think all of us were surprised. We typically are familiar with drones in the air, but not in the water. Tell us your background, your history about drones.
Yeah, well, when I was in the Navy, I spent a significant amount of time in a salvage and recovery ship. And what we would do from time to time when we were, out on a cruise is we'd be called in to provide target practice. We really didn't like that because occasionally they'd get confused on what they were supposed to be shooting at. But they would send us out with these, there are two types of targets we would use. One was a towed target, which, you're just towing this thing with a bullseye on it, way, way, way behind you. Or on occasion we would carry these little speedboats, which is, they're about the size of, your Chris Craft speedboat that'll hold, 4 people or so. But they were remote control. They could be controlled by operators sitting on the back of our ship, and they had a big honking V8 engine in them that would cause them to just fly back and forth. Now, the idea of the ships that we were providing target practice for was that they were to shoot over it and not hit it, because of course, if you hit it, that's kind of the end of the work for the day. But we have an operator on board just zooming back and forth with this little boat, and the destroyers and the cruisers and whatnot would be aiming at it and firing, and it was a lot of fun for us. We just got to sit there and watch the fur fly as they were desperately trying to get close to this boat but not hit it.
So did you ever operate the ship, Mike, or was that somebody else?
No, that was someone that was somewhat more talented and perhaps less devious than myself. It looked like a lot of fun, but especially back in the 70s, that sort of remote control device was much more advanced than say your basic hobbyist RC control stuff. So that was they'd tell us to get our grubby paws away from that because it was expensive.
Yeah. Can you, with the knowledge that you have, can you kind of imagine, if you would, for us and our listeners, how they sent this drone and knew where to send it and how it got to where the two crewmen were? And then is it easy, was it relatively easy or a challenge for them to climb aboard the drone?
Well, chances are, first of all, when a flyer goes down, they have some, pretty robust equipment that'll give an encoded signal, letting U.S. forces know where they are. And it's generally a signal that we can pick up and we can figure out where it is, but the enemy has difficulty doing the same because, of course, we want to get there first. The drones now, I'm sure, I haven't seen one of these since the 70s, but I'm sure they're much more sophisticated with probably, TV cameras and all that on so they can actually check what's around them in a 360-degree area. But I would imagine, first of all, you have to be able to get on and off these boats easily for the maintenance people and for anyone who's got to, get it ready for launch. So my thought would be that this thing probably was able to navigate using the signals from the down flyers to figure out where they are. These things are probably very fast, 60 miles an hour plus. Because, I'm not sure exactly what all purposes they can have for these, but rescuing down flyers seems to me that's something they've built into its capabilities. So chances are very real that, first of all, with the TV cameras, they can, get to the general area, spot these guys, and then figure out what, pull up, stop. Hopefully these guys were in good enough physical condition, injuries notwithstanding or whatnot, to climb aboard. There's probably a small cockpit towards the back of it that they can sit in. Because, like I said, this is probably a drone design that's built to accommodate this. In World War II, one of the big jobs for submarines was standing by to pick up downed flyers, bombers that had gone down, fighters that had gone down, and whisk them, out from underneath the enemy and get them home. Well, that's something that surely has continued with these drones, that they've sent them out, or they've designed them so they can be sent out very quickly and with a very low profile to snatch these people up and get them back to the safety of our own facilities.
Well, it just seems like it took them a heck of a long time to rescue them. 2 hours. I can see where I don't even know. At any time when you were in the Navy, and I know you were in the Middle East, were you ever near the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we spent 6 months in the Suez Canal in 1975, which is not too gosh awful far away, but we were never we were never in the Straits of Hormuz or the Red Sea there, but that whole area is really rather compact to begin with. So you're not too far away from hostiles anywhere you go over there, it seems.
Well, I doubt that they want to send a helicopter to rescue the guys. For fear that would also get shot down, and I guess they relied on this sea vessel drone to rescue the two crewmen. It sounded like a very sophisticated rescue.
Well, this, the whole affair to me sounds like something that might be a new wrinkle in anti-aircraft warfare. That the Apache helicopter, as fast as it is still comparatively low when we're looking at the fighter jets of the current era, and a drone and I don't know if this thing shot it down or if it was just, they ran the drone into the helicopter, that would be the first thing I would suspect, is they just suicide droned this thing into the helicopter to take it down. And, 2 hours to get to the pilots. They certainly have emergency equipment on board that would come out of the downed aircraft with them to keep them afloat and to keep them in communication. I mean, that's the way it's designed. And 2 hours to mount a rescue, to me, that's not too surprising. That's still kind of fast because, first of all, you've got to get the chain of command to figure out, oh, hey, I think Jim, Bob, and Joey, they're not flying anymore. So you've got to get someone to authorize the rescue. You've got to have them make the decision that, hey, we just had a helicopter go down, and at this point they may not be sure exactly what brought the helicopter down. And thinking of that, they may not have wanted to immediately commit another helicopter, only to see the same thing happen.
Right. Yeah.
So, the idea of the drone that they did use to pick these guys up may have been close. It may have not been very close, but it's again, it's just something that you would have to have that asset in the area to be able to use it, even as fast as they are. And it could take time to assemble all that stuff and get it out into the water and headed towards them to pick them up.
Yeah, how fast would you estimate those sea drones are capable of traveling? Obviously, the helicopters and the jets that can get to these guys very quickly, but we're talking probably, 50, 60 knots at most?
Yeah, I would say 50, 60 knots at least. These things are built to be, to avoid being hit by enemy fire, and they're made to be used as a training tool to train our guys to be able to hit them. Certainly, and the engines. In fact, the engines that we were dealing with were Chrysler engines, like 383s. So it's a very large, powerful engine, and these boats they're not built for comfort. They don't have there's no bathroom on board. There's no kitchen. So they're just a piece of floating stuff with a big engine on top and a whole lot of fuel. So I would imagine, I would not be surprised if they're capable of over 70 knots. Although it seems once you get to that level of speed, it's going to be hard to control.
Yeah.
The pictures we see on TV make it look like these areas are all very close to each other, but they're still spread out quite a bit in that area, aren't they? And
right.
so even at 70 knots, and I suppose that depends on the sea conditions, it's going to take a little
right.
time to get a drone out to where this may have gone down.
Right, and you got to ask yourself, we don't know. First of all, where did the drone come from? Did it come off of like a destroyer, or was it dropped by a large, say, like a Chinook helicopter or something? We're not really very well. We're not very knowledgeable on what assets are where out there, but I'm sure for the U.S. military, they've got anything that's in their arsenal, anything that they have in their trick bag, is probably deployed to that area somewhere, and anything that might be new and interesting to use, someone's itching to use it out there just to prove that, this $14 billion of weapons development was not wasted, and we'll find out, was it or was it not? But this is the type of asset that I think is part of the new Navy, and it's valuable because it allows you to extend your reach without putting more personnel at risk trying to do something that is going to be hazardous regardless of how you set it up.
All right, we want to give an update here, and you will be interested in hearing this. The National Weather Bureau has just issued a tornado watch for the following counties. Are you ready for this, Mike? Peoria,
I am.
Fulton, Peoria, Fulton, Stark, Putnam, and Marshall County. So I assume you have cameras on your property, and you may want to check in every now and then from Connecticut.
Yeah, well, we've got the kid still living at home, so
Okay.
he has the helm, so to speak. So
All right.
chances are, I think he's probably hunkered down in the basement with the dogs right now.
Yeah. How about your cows and your sheep? Will they be okay? And
Well, they're on the
most importantly,
they're
your
on
bees.
their own.
They're okay.
Well, the bees. At least I've got that strapped down to
Yeah, okay.
To the thing they're on. So I'm less worried about the bees. Any cows, sheep, or goat.
Yeah.
I'll just have to go over to Putnam County and try to collect them later.
Yeah. Clint Eastwood from Rawhide, they're moving them over to Sark County, well, Henry County. There might be. Anyway, well, have a safe trip, my friend, and we'll be chatting with you. Hopefully, when are you returning? Are you coming back next week?
Week after. We'll be back. I'll miss
That's right.
next Thursday.
You did tell me. Yeah, HR called and said you applied for a 2-week vacation, and it's been approved.
I thought it was a 2-week suspension.
From us, I guess. Okay. All right. Thanks, my friend.
Okay, Roger. Talk to you later.
With
Mike.
the link. What was that?
I just said thanks, Mike.
72 degrees, and it is 7:51, and we haven't heard from Louis Linder. Here's Louis in our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. When you are shopping for a new pet and have chosen to make the responsible choice of adopting from a rescue, make sure that you are going through a responsible, well-known rescue group. It is very sad to say, but there are a lot of disreputable groups or individuals playing on your sympathies. So how do you find a legitimate rescue? Check with your state's listing of ratings for 501c3 organizations. This listing will tell you how long they've been in business and what percentage of their money goes for pets versus salaries and facilities, as reported to the IRS in their latest 990. It's an impartial determination. The other thing to look for is if this site or rescue group only adopts out a certain type of animal that could be called a designer breed. These are often puppy mills masquerading as rescues. You need to research these fully. Now, that's not to say that a Schnauzer or Pit Bull rescue group is not legit. Those are specific breeds. What I'm talking about is a group that has dogs they call cute names like Bassadors or Chiweenies or Poodles mixed with some other breed, and these are the only breeds they offer. That's your red flag to check further. Being a responsible pet owner starts before you even purchase your pet. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, as you just heard, we're now under a tornado watch, at least for the following counties: Peoria, Fulton, Stark, and Putnam, and Marshall. I believe Knox and some other counties in the state of Illinois, but that's what we're dealing with in our area, the Peoria area. And you had some additional details or information that we're going to get hit kind of hard around what time did you speculate?
The Weather Channel has a graphic where you can see the radar imaging and then hit it for a future kind of progression. And it shows the most intense bands of this incoming front come into Peoria a little bit before noon, so expect some rain to start in 11:30 range, and then maybe some really intense stuff to hit around 12 or 12:30, and that could last for a couple of hours. After that, it lightens up for what looks like the rest of the day, but yeah, that's probably where the most significant risk for tornado activity would occur, would be maybe between noon and 2 p.m. this afternoon.
Well, Mr. Weather, Kyle Varnold, will be checking in, I think, in the next hour, so stay tuned, because Mr. Weather knows weather, and I know he's tracking the storms as well. I guess we can say during a tornado watch, being on the second floor is okay. If it isn't, we're in deep doo-doo.
I think we're safe with the brick structure here, but who knows? What I'm curious about is, I'm looking at all the counties mentioned here, and they do mention Peoria County, but not Tazewell County. It's almost...
No, I know. I'm happy to hear that, because I live in Tazewell County. A lot of people live in Tazewell County.
Well, but the weather map shows this thing is going to move from southeast to, from northwest toward the southeast, and that would move right into Tazewell County. So I'm not sure why they skipped Tazewell County or Woodford.
Well, but, it isn't a lottery, you know. You don't pull names of counties out of a hat.
Maybe Tazewell didn't pay their dues over to the National Weather Service and get mentioned, but I would guess that you might be at risk in Tazewell too if you're listening or watching.
Yeah. That reminds me of the story that Royce used to tell about the IRS agent knocked on the door and said, the guy said, yeah, can I help you? He said, yeah, you owe us $5,000. We want it right now or else. And the guy said, listen, we, at the end of the month, put all our bills in a hat and we draw out 3 to pay. And if you keep harassing me, we won't even put you in the hat. I thought that was pretty funny. And that's one I haven't told in a long time. Every now and then one of Royce's stories pops into my small brain and rolls out, for that matter. Well, we're going to give you a complete look at the weather, and our thanks to Mike Dentino. Do you feel a little more comfortable about what a sea drone is?
I was highly unfamiliar with them, as you were,
too.
Roger. But yes, I did. I looked it up, and they just look like high-powered motorboats, basically, but they're unmanned.
Yeah.
And I imagine they're controlled by satellite control, because obviously the RC type control that we play in the lagoon and Glen Oak Park with our little miniature boats, those signals don't travel very far. So they've got to have a way of reaching these control systems from
tell them where to go
from great distance, and that would be best done through satellite communications. So yes, it's really a high-tech kind of system, and we keep hearing a lot about the drones, because now that's a real integral part of warfare. Drones by the hundreds or even thousands can be sent off to drop bombs or to bomb locations in your enemy territory. And even the U.S. has used those to knock out terrorists. There's that one video that has been shown on social media of them locating one of the masterminds of the terrorist attacks, and that they found in an abandoned building, and took him out.
What was the deal when they had the cell phones that apparently were distributed, and they had detonators inside, and when they used the phone or the phone rang, it blew up. You remember
Israel,
that? That was about
yes.
a year ago, wasn't it?
Yes, it was around a year or so ago. Israel somehow found out who the supplier was for pagers that the ISIS members used. That it was how they communicated. ISIS has tried to remain clandestine, and yet, obviously they have to avoid sending out phone messages because those can somehow be interrupted and spied on. And so they were using pagers, old-fashioned type pagers, to notify their fighters when their next action was coming. And so they somehow managed to put explosives into these pagers, these little kind of belt clip pagers, just enough of an explosive thing about the size of a cigarette, and it was activated by the pager going off. Well, the ISIS command handed these out to hundreds or more of their fighters, and then they sent out a signal, and when these fighters would click the button to read the signal, it would activate the explosive, and it killed a number of them. It disabled a number of them with serious wounds and injuries, blew their legs off, did some horrible things. Really in a unique way of carrying the war right to their territory. Yeah.
All right, it's 8 o'clock, and we want to wrap things up with hour number 2 of Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WACU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois, now under a tornado watch, and also on YouTube, which is not under a tornado watch. So happy to see everybody there. A good audience this morning, by the way. And we have news, weather, sports coming up in the next hour, so happy you could join us on Breakfast with Roger and Friend. And the friend is Dr. Gene Sidler on this beautiful, but yet, actually, we're getting word now, because we don't have a weather window, that it's actually sunny outside.
It was pretty clear coming in this morning, and yet the pavement was a little wet in spots, so it must have rained overnight. And I heard thunder at about 2 a.m. It was pretty loud. But yeah, it looks like that's cleared up some, and the weather map shows it is clear right now, but it is coming in. It'll be here in about 5 or 6 hours.
Okay, we're going to get out of here in an hour. I'm telling you. Stay tuned. In the meantime. It is a Thursday morning, the 11th of June, and we begin on this portion of our program on WAZU with a check of the weather. You know, this is a great time to consider buying your next home. Realtor Kathy Reynolds, Home Smart, eager to help you search the marketplace. Kathy, has experienced more than 8 years helping people, countless couples, families, individuals find their next dream home, and she's available as we speak to discuss the exciting opportunities at 309-696-2162. Well, as we mentioned, we've had some power outages, estimated 10,000 people in central Illinois, and particularly in Peoria County at one time, some 9,000 people without electricity. Many areas, especially Chillicothe and Pekin, hard hit with downed trees by the strong winds. Over in Pekin, the hospital there reported some damage, but not enough to interrupt services. And we look forward from Kyle Varnold to give an update on the weather. And the weather includes a tornado watch for Peoria, Fulton, Stark, Putnam, and Marshall counties. Otherwise, today, partly sunny, windy, and warm today, a high of 87, a chance for showers after 5 this afternoon. Overnight low with thunderstorms tonight, 60 degrees. And Not as warm tomorrow. Tomorrow, pretty nice day, sunshine and a high of 82, and tomorrow night pleasant, an overnight low of 62. Weekend weather, Saturday sunny, a little warmer, 86. Showers possible Saturday night, and Sunday sunny and 75 for the high. And currently our temperature at 72 degrees. And there you have a look at the weather. Now let's turn to the news. President Trump warned Iranian officials it was coming. It was a lot of explosive if they didn't get serious about signing a peace agreement. The president had the Trump card, if you pardon the pun, and he played it, ordering the resumption of attacks on Iranian targets. U.S. military officials reported the launching of 49, count them, 49 Tomahawk missiles, and also a number of airstrikes. Trump said the bombing will end after a few hours, and it has. Those attacks come after an Iranian drone downed a U.S. Army Apache helicopter that was patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. The aircraft ditched in the waters, and the two crew members were able to survive. Thanks to our drone technology, American forces dispatched a drone sea vessel to where the two men were located. 2 hours later, they crawled onto the vessel and returned to safety. This was the first time we learned about drones, and we thank our good friend Mike Dentino with information about how they have been used for a number of years. The president announced a retaliation against Iran during a White House celebration of the signing of his $70 billion bill that funds border and ICE agents and the Department of Homeland Security until 2029. Ireland may want to consult with the United States after rioting in Belfast. Immigrants tried to behead one man and another person was stabbed in the hand. And surprisingly, police actually handcuffed the bleeding victim. The near beheading came when a 30-year-old immigrant from Sudan attacked a 40-year-old Belfast man with a knife. That victim suffered terrible injuries, the loss of his left eye, damage to the right eye, slash wounds to the neck, face, and back. Let's turn to some local news. Law enforcement agencies have caught and arrested those two bad guys who attempted to rob the Heartland Bank in Washington, Illinois. 50-year-old Willie Franklin nabbed in Fort Myers, Florida, and 48-year-old D. Ward, he stayed around, and that was a mistake. He was taken into custody in Tazewell County. That robbery took place Thursday, June 4th, around 4 p.m. And some other local news, and a big event, as a matter of fact, at the Komatsu campus on the city's north side yesterday. The earth-moving manufacturer held a ribbon-cutting ceremony celebrating the opening of its new $28 million three-story building. The company produces forklifts and a number of large and different-sized mining trucks. It sits on the grounds of the former R.G. Letourneau Company, which manufactured heavy-duty earth-moving equipment including bulldozers and the well-known turnipoles. That's a look at some of the stories we're following. Now let's find out what's going on in the studios of WCBU.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Colleen Holden. The Citizens Utility Board says Illinois' largest private water utility wants to overcharge customers by more than $50 million. The Consumer Watchdog Group is challenging Illinois American Water's $142 million rate increase request, the utility's fourth hike in 10 years. Cub says the utility is asking for the highest profit ever sought by an Illinois utility. Spokesperson Jim Chilson says that's unfair to consumers.
Their bills have escalated alarmingly over the last decade.
If approved, a typical resident customer could pay about $14 more per month. Pekin residents who want to learn about Illinois American Water's proposed acquisition of the city's wastewater system can do so at an open house tomorrow. Employees from the utility company's operations, customer service, and other departments will answer questions one-on-one at City Hall. Pekin manager John Dawsey says the city is not involved with the open house. Illinois American Water mailed a notice of the Pekin open house to residents. The 2-hour meeting begins at 5 p.m. Local governments have started to adopt data center restrictions as the Illinois legislature failed to pass any data center regulations in the spring. Democratic State Senator Dave Kaler, who represents parts of Bloomington Normal, says he supported the Power Act, which could come back during veto session.
If it's done right, a data center is a good addition to any community, because I say this, in smaller communities where they're tending to locate, that becomes a tremendous tax base.
Kaler says he also supports the temporary pause on data center tax credits Governor J.B. Pritzker is trying to enact. And a $5.5 million renovation project will add 8 loft-style apartments and street-level retail space to Peoria's growing warehouse district. City Manager Patrick Urick says the development in the 900 block of Southwest Adams Street adds to the district's rising property values.
This investment will grow the property tax value, the assessed value of the property, by nearly 10 times.
To offset some of those higher taxes, the City Council has approved a redevelopment agreement that will reimburse the developers up to 20% of eligible project costs, capped at $1.1 million. I'm Colleen Holden.
Hey, let's get into the world of sports. And we want to say it's brought to you by BradleyFans.com. Dr. James
I
said.
get more plugs on here than the pet tip of the day.
Well, you're our pet tip of the morning. How's that?
Thank you, Roger. Every little bit helps. Although we don't make any money on that either.
We sure don't. You do okay. I mean, with all the history you get, I'm surprised you don't have national sponsors.
We do have ads on, and they just barely do cover the cost of
But
running.
I'd heard that if you reach a certain threshold, national companies want to get on your website.
If you can get up to like millions of views, now you can almost make a living just running a website that if you're getting millions of views, you can make thousands of dollars a month off of advertisers that want to put their ads on your website. If it's a local thing like Bradley Fans, we might make
you make enough to pay for gas
or something. That'll cover, like I say, our hosting fees on our websites and everything involved the software. So no, I don't make money on that. But sports yesterday, it was a pretty exciting game in the NBA. The NBA Finals Game 4 was last night in New York City in Madison Square Garden, and the San Antonio Spurs looked overwhelming in the first half. They dominated the Knicks and built a 29-point lead, but the Knicks gradually came back in the second half and cut the lead down and finally took a 1-point lead themselves inside the final minute. The Knicks led 105-104 with just seconds left, and San Antonio then was fouled and made 2 free throws to take back a 1-point lead with only a few seconds left, and then the Knicks on their final possession scored on a tip-in with 1.2 seconds to win the game 107-106, sending the crowd into a frenzy and capping off the largest comeback in NBA Finals history. The Knicks now lead the series 3-1, looking for their first NBA title since 1973. Game 5. They still got to win one more, and now the San Antonio Spurs are down 3-1. They've got to win the next 3 to have a chance to take the title. Game 5 is Saturday night in San Antonio. Over in baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals beat the New York Mets 9-2. Cardinals now 37-28, and they play the Mets again today in New York this afternoon. Chicago Cubs lost in a game out in Colorado to the Rockies 3-2 last night. And the Cubs now dropped to 34-34, the first time they've been back to the 500 mark since the first few days of the season. The Cubs are 8 games back behind the Milwaukee Brewers now in the National League Central. Cubs will play the Colorado Rockies again in an afternoon game at 2:10 our time on I guess it's the Marquee Network.
Marquee, yeah. I have a question for you. Isn't Colorado one of the worst teams in the major leagues, record-wise?
Yes, they are. They were the worst team last year. This year they're a little better record-wise, but still, I believe they're in last place in the National League West division. So yeah, they struggle. Don't have a whole lot of talent, but so far, maybe you can say the same thing about the Cubs.
Well, I think, seriously, and I'm a big Cub fan, I think the season is over. I really do. Their bullpen is imploding.
Yeah.
And they've had some starters who are on the injured reserve list. And I don't see them. They don't have any premier ball players like they used to have. You know, the center fielder has made some dramatic home runs, but he's still only batting like 244 or something like that.
240, yeah.
And he's made some bonehead running the bases as well.
He doesn't lead the National League outfielders in errors, but he's close. I think he's one behind. He's made quite a few errors, which, you know, a center fielder, you expect him to go through the year with maybe two or three errors.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got 4 errors already, and so, yeah, really made some dumb plays out there. You know, there have been teams, they're 8 games behind the Brewers, and there have certainly been teams that have been much farther back and made up that difference in the amount of time that's left in the season. The Cubs have played 68 games, so they've got you know, almost 100 games still, you know, maybe 90 games left. I guess that would put it closer to that. 90 or 100 games left in the season. There's plenty of time to come back, but you're right. The talent just doesn't seem to be there. They don't have enough depth in starting pitching, and their middle relief has not been good. Their closer, Palencia, he's been very good, but last night he imploded, and he lost the game for him in the bottom of the 9th inning. So, you know, he's had I guess he's caught the disease from the rest of the team. So we'll see. I do think the Cubs will be active between now and the end of July when the trade deadline comes up to try to strengthen the pitching mainly, I would have to think.
Yeah.
So
well, we hope so,
see.
but it doesn't look good.
The White Sox, they had better luck last night. They beat the Atlanta Braves, the Braves with the best record in the major leagues. They beat them for the second night in a row. Last night, 2-1, the Chicago White Sox improved the record to 36-31 and took over first place in the American League Central. First time they've been in first place since they finished the season as the division winners in 2021. The White Sox will play the Braves again in the 3rd game of that series tonight. And the Peoria Chiefs lost to the South Bend Cubs over in South Bend last night. 5-3. Their record drops to 30-29. The game started 2.5 hours late due to rain, and then was cut short in the 7th inning with another rainstorm that came in and did not look like it was going to end anytime soon. So the game was called, and Cubs lose 5-3. They'll play the
Cubs or
the South Bend.
South Bend.
The Chiefs, and they lost to the South Bend Cubs. The Chiefs will play in South Bend again tonight, and that series continues through Sunday. One more baseball score that we have been reporting is the Congressional Charity Baseball game last night at the Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. It was pretty heavily attended. I think they said there were like 30,000 fans.
Oh, you're kidding. Really?
The game. Republicans just dominated the game, beating the Democrats 11-2 for their 6th blowout win in a row. 6 years in a row they've won that game. The game has been played since 1909. Republicans now lead the all-time series 48-42 with one tie. And then in the NHL, we have the Stanley Cup Finals that are back today. The Carolina Hurricane and the Las Vegas Golden Knight tie 2 games apiece. Game 5 is tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the 2026 Soccer World Cup, hosted by the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, starts today with 2 matches, both of them in Mexico. It's Korea versus Czechia in Guadalajara, and Mexico versus South Africa in Mexico City. Both of those are on the Fox networks, one of the Fox networks, and the games will all be televised and streamed. The U.S. men's national team, they play their first match tomorrow night in Los Angeles against Paraguay, 8 p.m. on the Fox network. The men are ranked number 17 in the world FIFA rankings. They are favored over Paraguay, who is ranked 41st. 48 teams and 104 matches between now and the championship match, which will come Sunday, July 19th. And the final note, good luck to the East Peoria boys high school baseball team. They're playing in the state tournament, and one of the final 4 teams, they will play Chicago St. Rita tomorrow in a semifinal game at 10 a.m. in Joliet in Class 3A for the state title on Saturday, and let's wish them good luck. That's it for sports, Roger.
There you go. Thank you kindly. All the latest from the world of sports at BradleyFans.com. Dr. Gene Sidler. For 10 points, what's the name of the song? It was a big hit. Well, put on your ear flaps and see if you can remember this. I think I remember playing this as
Oh, that's The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
no, nice guess.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a theme song from some TV game show. It's the Elephant Walk.
No, that was. By the way, that was one of my favorite songs. I love playing that.
That's not
I
it.
did play this. I'm trying to think what year it might have been, but it's by a German orchestra, and also one of my favorite orchestras in the pop music world. Bert Kaempfert.
Bert Kaempfert. I'm sure Terry would know that if she was here.
Terry would have nailed it right away.
Terry.
Yeah.
I'm depending on you.
A Swinging Safari.
Oh, Swinging Safari.
Yeah.
Yes, it was actually a big hit on the pop charts.
Yes, it
in
was.
the 1960s, maybe late 50s, early 60s. I could look that up when that hit the charts.
You know what? And let's move on. Since I've got this, let's move on to the next song and see if you can identify it.
This is a Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass song. No?
It's Bob Crew Generation.
Bob Crew Generation.
And it's something that musical introduction of what guys used to like to do.
Watching the girl watching.
There's music to watch girls by. That was a good one.
Should
And here's a song you should get. It's a coffee song.
I never really liked this instrumentals, and so these were never my favorite songs. But I do remember this. It's also from that same era, about the 1960s.
Maybe Kathy will call in and help us out on this, or help you out. I know the answer because I'm playing it a little bit. The artist, the trumpeter, or he might have been playing the cornet, is Al Hurt.
Al Hurt from New Orleans.
Yeah.
His statue is right in downtown French Quarter.
Okay. What's the name of the song? I already gave you a tip, a hint, a clue.
Black Coffee.
I
yeah.
said it has to do with coffee. What's another word?
Java.
Java. Very nice going. All right. I think you'll get this next one.
I hope so. I'm over 3 so far.
Yeah. Try this one. This was from a TV show, by the way.
Yes. Well, I remember this.
Nelson Riddle in the orchestra. Nelson Riddle, by the way, played a lot
Route
of the...
66.
The what?
Route 66.
Route 66, correct. Nelson Riddle did a lot of the orchestration for Frank Sinatra, some of the songs that he sang. All right, I'll go back to, let's scoot back, Roger, and see where we are with this one.
So far, just one note.
So far, there's 2 or 3.
Oh, Cast Your Fate to the Wind.
Oh, very good. You got that one very quickly.
Who did that one?
Vince
Guaraldi.
You got it.
He's the guy that wrote the Peanuts theme. Oh, that's this one. That's the Peanuts theme.
Yeah.
It's got a name, but I can't.
Yes, it is. The name of the 2 of the players on Peanuts.
Oh, Lucy and Linus song or something.
You got it. Linus and Lucy. Well, boy, you're hot now. I don't know whether you would get this or not. I certainly wouldn't, but you're more knowledgeable about music than I am.
Grazing in the Grass.
That's very good.
By
Hugh, whatever.
Montequila,
Masaquila. Yeah.
something like that.
Well, that's. I think that's very good. Well, let's try this one. See how you do on this.
Oh, I'll get this one. Give me just a second. This is Dueling Banjos. This is
Bela Fleck and Abigail Washburn, the artist.
I can picture two people playing it. This is what senility does to you, Roger. I know this song.
The final.
Oh, the final countdown.
The final time. All right, I know that was a struggle for you, but I think you'll get this one. Here's the horn solo.
This is Kenny G.
Chuck Mangione
Oh,
and
this is Chuck Mangione. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a trumpeter. Actually, he played a flugelhorn.
it's a flugelhorn.
Chuck, he just died, I think, earlier this year.
Mangione did?
Chuck Mangione did. Yeah, his instrument was a flugelhorn, and he was very popular in the, I think, the 60s, 70s. But I don't remember the title of this song.
Feels
So Good.
so good. I knew you would.
People listening are probably thinking, gee, that guy doesn't know his music. I know the songs, I just don't remember the names.
You just can't connect the dots. I understand. I've been there, done that. We've been playing this as a little bumper music. This is a woman's name. Jessica. Doesn't ring a bell. Well, I know you'll get this one because we've talked about it.
Oh, that's Green Onions.
Sidler by who?
That's the one by Hugh Maddox.
By Booker.
By Booker T. Yeah,
Yeah, and
I get my artists mixed up.
All right. All right. Try this one, and then we have one more before we break for the news.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. George Benson, does that ring a bell?
George Benson was a singer.
Mm-hmm. Might say it's a weather song. If it's not windy, what is it?
The opposite of windy?
Well, it's not.
Breezy.
Yes, very good. Breezy is the title. You did fine.
I only got that because of your clue. I would not have
Never got. Well, you did good on it.
the side.
And here's the final song, and this has always been one of my favorites because it features the name of a third baseman for the Chicago Cubs.
Oh, that's Santo and Johnny.
Yeah, and the title is.
The title is. I really like this song. And
I love it.
And it came out when I was in like
Bible school.
freshman of high school or something like that.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well, let me ask you this as a physician. I wonder if you ever treated someone for this. I'll never forget when we were living on Wardcliff. I was waking in the middle of the night with a noise at the front door, and I thought, "Oh my God, somebody's in my house!" So I got out of bed. I don't have guns. I never have guns, except many years ago as a young guy had a .22, and then of course an M1 when I was in the Army, and later a rifle. But at any rate, so I hear this noise, and somebody I think's in the house. And I get up, gingerly walk down the hall to the front door, and the door is open. The screen door is not. And I thought, well, no one is in the house. I wonder if they're outside. So I gingerly went to the front door, looked out, and there was my oldest son. I think he was 10 years old, standing on the porch.
I'm not sure where we're going with this story.
Well, what do you think he was doing?
Sleepwalking.
Yes. That's the name of the song. And
I was trying to figure, does this tie into the title, or are you
Yeah.
just giving me a story here?
an anecdote to tell you. No.
Okay. Anto and Johnny were brothers, I believe.
Really?
I think they were brothers.
All right. Now, this day in history, June 11th, 1982. And something happened in the entertainment business.
Was it a movie release?
It was a movie that was released. What was the movie? June 11th, 1982.
Some of our other history questions have been movie releases. 1982. Now, that was well
1980.
after Star Wars. Was it The Exorcist?
No, but you're kind of in the neighborhood
Was it
of
a
title.
scary drama?
I thought it was scary.
Was it One
But-
Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
No.
I guess I'm going to need another clue here.
Okay. It was directed by Steven Spielberg.
Was it E.T.?
And you're exactly right.
Okay.
You remember the movie?
Yeah, E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Music for that was great. How old do you think Steven Spielberg was when he directed this movie? He was a relatively young man.
Year, and that was 40 years old. So he was probably only
34 years old. And reportedly he was inspired to tell the story by his own experiences as a lonely child of divorce. And in particular, imaginative. After the film's first showing on the last night of 1982 at the film festival, E.T. was overwhelmingly positive. In Time magazine, Richard Corliss raved E.T. is a perfectly poised mixture of sweet comedy, intense speed, melodrama, of death and resurrection, of a friendship so pure and powerful it seemed like an idealized love. Oh, that's a little bit How do you think, how many films, the film was nominated for how many Academy Awards in 1983?
I'm just going to guess 7.
9. Yeah. Best original score, among other things. Yeah. It earned $435 million, and it was re-released in 1985. And among the people that starred in the movie, it's not well known, but one of the stars, as one of the extras, was a guy from East Peoria by the name of Dick Hawley. Oh, Dick, you're on the line.
I'm not buying that.
You're not buying that.
I was just wondering what the news was brought to us by.
By the movie, the re-release, do you realize It was re-released in 1985, and then again in 2002. I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, that 2002 was like a 20-year re-release with extra scenes and stuff, I think.
And Dick, here's a chance for you to shine this morning. On the list of all-time highest grossing movies, where do you rank? You think it ranks, and I will tell you it's in the top 10.
Well, I think it's in the top 10.
Yes.
You got that one right.
Yeah, that right.
Third.
Third? What do you think, John?
I don't think it's that high. I'm going to go 7th.
7 is correct. You cheated. You must have looked. You nailed it. Hey, Dick, I'm glad you called. I was going to call you. I don't know whether you were calling for a cash prize or what, but, you know, you had an accident, not you personally. I don't think you were driving the bus from your charter from Ford County that got rear-ended in Maryland. Is the driver okay? Did he go uninjured in the accident that you know?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm off on medical.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I thought since you worked there, you'd be in the know because...
Oh, I don't work there. That's what I tell people.
Oh.
I used to work for a living. That ain't it.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. All I know is the news account...
The driver was not hurt.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's wonderful. And I'm trying
Yeah,
to...
research.
All right. Thanks, Carolyn. Between the three of you, where is Ford County? Because apparently that's where the kids were from.
Ford County.
Ford County, Illinois.
Yes.
Yeah, Paxton.
Okay.
Paxton's the county seat. I live in Kempton, Illinois, and part of Kempton was in Ford County. There's a little strip just a few miles wide. Kind of looks like the Peoria, the old logo with the feather. You know, there's one thing comes all the way up.
Yeah.
Here's Ford County. You can see it. It's got Gibson City and Paxton in that lower part, and then you're right. It's got that little antenna that sticks up in the middle of it that runs up along Route 115, I guess it is.
Yep.
Strange shaped county. Yeah, very strange. You wonder how they came up with that odd shape.
Yeah, I lived in Kempton, which was the northernmost town. 205 people.
It's one of the smaller populations.
Across the street was Kankakee County, and quarter mile to the west was Livingston.
Oh, I see. You know your counties better than I do there.
Well, he gets around.
I grew up there.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, earlier this week, we were talking about twins, and Dr. Sidler and his brother Glenn are identical twins, and I was telling them that I met a guy, he was county clerk at Kankakee, and he and his wife gave birth to identical twins, females, and they wound up beautiful, absolutely beautiful young women, and they wound up as poster and TV stars for Double Mint Gum. And I couldn't remember the name of the Kankakee County clerk. And because you came on this morning, you triggered my ability to connect the dots, and I now remember his name was Dennis Marshall. He was the Kankakee County. So I thank you for that. It took me 4 days. Took me 4 days.
Anytime I can help without doing anything, I'm your guy.
Hey, amen to that. So what's new in the world of Richard and Carolyn Hawley this morning?
We're waiting for a pool guy to come fix the pump so my son can have his grandkids over for a pool party.
Okay. You have a swimming pool, do you?
Above ground.
Yeah. There are some areas, as I drove to Peoria this morning, there are some areas that have pools that are not supposed to have pools as well. We have gotten, I think, officially a little over 4 inches of rain in Peoria. That's a lot of water in a very short period of time.
Yeah, my wife has looked today, but we had 3 7/8 last night when we came in. So we had rain in the night, so I'm sure we're above 4.
Yeah, and you're in Tazewell County, so.
Woodford County.
Are you in Woodford? I thought you lived in East Peoria.
I do.
But you're in Woodford County. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
1 mile in.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to guess. Do you take Route 26?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
I go any place I do.
Yeah. All right. I know which end where Tazewell County bumps into Woodford County, for that matter. I think on that road there is a well, there are a number of farms, as I recall, and I'm trying to think of one of
The farmers.
yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
A big farm, and they raise not only corn, but didn't they raise also watermelon and
Oh yeah.
cantaloupe?
Yeah. They just a few years ago auctioned that farm off in different tracks.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, she went up to Snyder Village, and I think later he also wound up there.
Mm-hmm. And that also is the route that was going to have this big, I don't know what you would call it, ranch or resort that Kim Blick and staff put together. And they even were going to have the
Sam Cody.
Sam Cody, yeah, very good memory. And they had a stream that had cold water. I don't know where it came from. I don't
From an
think
aquifer.
Was that what it
and
was
the
from?
name, it's called the San Cody Aquifer.
Yeah.
And it bubbles up there just east of the river. And that was, they stocked it with trout and
Yes, they
different
did.
fish. And
Yeah.
they were going to have a nice resort there, but nobody came.
Nobody came. They built a resort and no one came. That's a little different than building.
Yeah, they
baseball field.
overpriced it for the area.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Spring Bay is Spring Bay because of the springs that keep that little bay from freezing in the winter.
Did not know that.
Fresh water bubbling up.
Well, it didn't. It bubbled down apparently, for that matter. Do you know who owns that resort, or has it ever been sold?
I don't know if it's been sold, but it's been reopened this year.
Oh, really?
So
Are people camping there?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to see when they get it landscaped off.
No.
I do see occasionally a vehicle going in and out.
Okay. Well,
They're renting the cabins out.
they are renting the cabins. You know, it's not a bad place to be if it be or landscape. It's too close to the highway from my perspective, but what do I know about it? Well, you may know a little more than Kim did on that one, because I think he lost his shirt and maybe his pants on top of it. Well, I got to read some news
I often thought
headlines.
about writing him a letter and apologizing for all the greedy people in Peoria. And then they dug him some holes.
Yeah, you're right. He got some bad local advice, didn't he? I wonder who he was listening to, because when he talked about buying the armory and renovating it for us as an entertainment venue and a few other things, I think, you got to be nuts, Mr. Kim.
Yeah.
And that bombed, and then he wanted to build something over the I-74 that was going to be a park, and that had to be something out of E.T.
And then they got stuck with that church. They wound up having to tear down.
Yeah. And somebody should have told him, hey, you can't put anything there. There's no parking. Absolutely no parking at all. And it hadn't been used. And I think what he did, somebody from the state of Washington bought it, and must have been a couple of hucksters, I don't know, but because he wanted it so bad, he bought it from them at an increased price. So it was something else. Okay, got to go, my friend. As always, great talking to you and your lovely bride, Carolyn. And
Okay, keep your umbrella handy.
Is it raining where you are?
No, it's just coming up though. It's starting to get dark again.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. As always, Dick. Drive careful.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good one.
You bet. Dick Hawley, and one of the reasons I thought it would be wise to, we do want to go into the news, but I do believe, are you there, my friend? Okay, hang on. Yeah, I thought just possibly Mr. Weather would be joining us. Kyle Varnold, good morning.
Good morning, Roger and friends. Sorry, it just took you a while to answer the phone. Is everything okay?
Yeah, no, we were just talking with Dick Hawley, and
oh, goodness.
And he was giving us some helpful information. You got to fill us in. You know, we are under, I understand, a tornado watch.
Yeah, I think we're on the far eastern edge of the tornado watch.
Oh,
I think
good.
I don't see anything happening with that. So there's a wave of storms in eastern Iowa right now, but it's entering a pretty capped atmosphere. The atmosphere had time to reset itself after the incredible storms we had last night, which we talked about yesterday at this very time on your program. The timing was pretty spot on. I said between 8 and 11, and for the most part that was the time frame. And we had the first wave in the afternoon. So, and you maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but I'm sure Mr. Poehls does, and Tyrus does, and Mr. Chamberlain. But yeah, we're the atmosphere is reset. Those storms coming out of Iowa, I don't think they hold their intensity to get here, especially as far as tornado parameters are concerned. I do expect SPC to issue a tornado watch around 1 or 2 o'clock today for our area, for the entire listening area, because the storms today is primarily between, say, 4 and 7 p.m. for the Peoria area, for our area. These are the ones that I've been concerned about all week, because these are the ones that are right ahead of this very dominant cold front that's going to be moving through, that's going to give us amazing weather for the weekend and next week. But to get to the amazing weather, we have to go through hell, and that is what's going to happen between 4 and 7 p.m. tonight with the storm setup. There's some models out this morning, particularly we call them hotographs. So hotographs, it's a model indicator, and we look at tornado parameters, particularly with hotographs, and what we're looking for is where the stronger cells will be, where the supercells will be. That's where the tornadoes will be, particularly that's where the long track tornadoes will be. And the hotographs this morning are showing a lot of agreement for a really big supercell somewhere, it will be northwest of Peoria, but in the vicinity of northern Warren County, southern Mercer County, northern Knox County, southern Henry County, all of in Marshall County. So it'll go north of town. But there's 3 of the 5 models are indicating a very large supercell in that vicinity this afternoon, and that will be the initial supercells before the front comes through. The line of storms will come through probably between 5 and 7. So any storms that haven't moved through by 5 o'clock in Peoria will come through in a congealed line. We call it a QLCS, quasi-linear convective system. And we might see some spin-ups along that leading outflow, which is what I thought we might see last night. I was surprised they issued the tornado watch last night because, again, the tornado parameters weren't in place for tornadoes. It was more of a damaging wind event, which we knew would happen. So I thought SPC would issue a severe thunderstorm watch for our area last night. But I think they wanted to cover their bases, and they went with a tornado watch instead. Excuse me. Roger, you still there?
Yeah, we're still here. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I am. My throat got really dry, so it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. So today is the main event. Today is the most dangerous of storms will be moving through, and particularly I think between 4 and 7 for Peoria.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be watching.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely be keeping an eye in that vicinity of just northwest of Peoria, Knox County, Warren County, Mercer County, Henry County, Marshall County, Stark County, because those hotographs are usually pretty accurate when they try to determine where the stronger supercells will be. So within 20, 30 miles of that region, I do expect a really dangerous storm later this afternoon with a particularly long-life tornado attached to it.
Yeah, you kind of take a survey of areas in central Illinois after a storm. We're talking about how Chillicothe and Pekin.
Oh, yeah.
And are they, and maybe some areas of North Peoria, what areas were the hardest hit with the winds and the heavy rain?
Chillicothe, I believe, will be determined. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Chillicothe, I believe, will be determined to be a microburst. And a microburst is a really small, concentrated area of very, very incredible, like 90 to 100 mile an hour winds. That so you have these cold pools that build up in these storms. And eventually you get outflows out of it. Well, this cold pool, it can only contain itself so long in a storm, and then it's like a powder keg. It blows up, and when it blows up, it comes down out of the storm and pushes out. So it's a concentrated area, no more than maybe a mile and a half or less. And when it comes down directly straight vertical down, and then blows out to, I'd say, 180-degree radius is where you see that concentrated area of winds. And that's what I believe occurred in southern Chillicothe yesterday about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah. So, again, we are under a tornado watch.
Peoria is under a tornado watch. Tazewell is not. Again, you are in the far eastern extent of the tornado watch, and I think they'll discontinue that tornado watch well before 3 o'clock, probably the next hour or so, because those storms coming out of Iowa, they won't hold their strength when they get closer to us. I think SPC will remove that tornado watch or end that tornado watch, and then they'll issue a new one probably early this afternoon for our area. That is the one that we'll be definitely keeping an eye on, because that's again, from this meteorologist perspective, 4 to 7 p.m. is the time frame I'm looking at.
All right. Well, and I don't mind saying, according to the long-range forecast, and of course subject to change, but 75 on Sunday. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Like I said, we have to go through hell to get there, but this cold, that just shows the impact of how strong this cold front is, and how the jet stream will be to the south of us. So we'll be on the cooler, drier side for the weekend. It's going to be an amazing weekend for the Tremont Turkey Festival. I don't recommend going tonight, unless you have a lot of life insurance.
Yeah.
But as far as tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be amazing weather for the Turkey Festival this year. Usually it's hot. It's not going to be the case.
Yeah,
and then for any activity you have this weekend, it's going to be absolutely amazing. And next week looks amazing. We'll be in the 70s next week. And we'll take it, because that's where we should climatologically be this time of year in June. So we'll definitely take it. But real quick, before, I don't know how much time I have, you talked yesterday about rain. Are we concerned about, the having too much moisture, too much water? And I talked about the water table is about 40%. They're probably close to 80% now. We're actually seeing excessive runoff already, and how I know this is because we're having river flooding. The Mackinac River will exceed flood stage at some point later this afternoon. The Spoon River will exceed flood stage at some point today. And in a couple of days, the Illinois River will be moving up quite high. So river flooding, localized flooding, is definitely something we need to be concerned about, particularly with the storms again this evening, because the water tables are pretty much full. So now you have a lot of excessive runoff, and localized flash flooding is certainly going to be the case with these storms coming in tonight.
All right, thanks for the update. I appreciate it. We got to do our pit tip of the day before we leave. So
of course you do.
Thank you, Mr. Weather, as your usual, up-to-date, 100% accurate forecast. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very kind. We'll dissect all of this live in studio at 8:30 tomorrow. Look forward to seeing.
God bless you, my friend. Stay safe.
God bless you.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Mr. Weather, and now Mr. Pet Tip of the Day, Louis Linder, and more information today.
Today's Pet Tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little-known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. When you are shopping for a new pet and have chosen to make the responsible choice of adopting from a rescue, make sure that you are going through a respectable, well-known rescue group. It is very sad to say, but there are a lot of disreputable groups or individuals playing on your sympathies. So how do you find a legitimate rescue? Check with your state's listing of ratings for 501c3 organizations. This listing will tell you how long they've been in business and what percentage of their money goes for pets versus salaries and facilities, as reported to the IRS in their latest 990. It's an impartial determination. The other thing to look for is if this site or rescue group only adopts out a certain type of animal that could be called a designer breed. These are often puppy mills masquerading as rescues. You need to research these fully. Now, that's not to say that a Schnauzer or Pit Bull rescue group is not legit. Those are specific breeds. What I'm talking about is a group that has dogs they call cute names like Bassadors or Chiweenies or Poodles mixed with some other breed, and these are the only breeds they offer. That's your red flag to check further. Being a responsible pet owner starts before you even purchase your pet. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
And let's wrap things up with a look at the weather. Partly sunny, windy, and warm today. High of 87. And a chance for showers after 5 this afternoon, and showers tonight, overnight low of 60. Not as warm tomorrow, sunny, a high of 82. Weekend weather, Saturday sunny, a little warmer, 86. A chance for showers Saturday night. Sunday, absolutely gorgeous day, sunny, and a wonderful 75 for the high. And right now our temperature at 73. And a couple of quick news headlines. President Trump has indicated the bombing of Iran is over after military forces launched something around 49 Tomahawk missiles against various sites, military sites and power sites in the country of Iran. And we also talked this morning about those water vessels utilizing drones, for that matter. And there have been some riots in Ireland that we reported on. And in local news, 50-year-old Willie Franklin, 50-year-old Willie Franklin, and 48-year-old Dee Ward have been arrested. They're accused of attempting to rob the Heartland Bank in Washington, D.C. And we can happily report that Pekin police say that Pekin girl, Sylvia Notter, has been located and is home safely. So that's some good news. And other good news, Komatsu celebrated the opening of a new $28 million three-story building on their campus on the north side of the city of Peoria. And that is kind of a summary of what we've been reporting this morning. Thanks for joining us. And we leave with this musical piece that Dr. Sidler correctly identified, featuring Ron Santo and Santo and Johnny. And you said they're twins?
No, they're not twins, but they were brothers who learned to play guitar, and I can try to look them up here and
Sleepwalk.
more information about them. Yeah,
is the title of the song that was, released. And I remember playing this as a DJ, so I'm going to say the 50s and the 60s. somewhere around then.
The song Sleepwalk, I gotta click over to that one to find the details, but it was released in 1959.
Ooh, okay, we're right on the button for that matter. Well, we're out of here, everybody. Be careful. We are under, in Peoria, a tornado watch, and have a great day. Remember, God loves you, and so do we, and the Lord willing, the creek don't run dry, and obviously it certainly is going to run dry. We've had over 4 inches of water and rain in Peoria alone. Have a great day, everybody. Remember, God loves you, and so do we.